Now we have Highland Baptist, who's a very competitive team. Ascension Christian, who is a very strong single A team. We have CCA on our schedule. St. John, who is very strong. And I think that's about it so far. So those teams, I think those teams that we could beat. All right, but I think if we go out there and we don't play hard, then they could beat us. So that's what you're kind of looking for in a pre-district schedule is, you really want to compete. You don't want to just blow people out of the water. You get nothing out of that. We want to see where we stand. I think that's going to be a great tale of where we stand going into our district.
Congratulations to Barker Honda. Barker Honda has been awarded American Honda's 2021 President's Award Elite status. Only 10 Honda dealers nationwide have been recognized as an elite dealer. Elite in sales, elite in financial services, elite in parts and service. Plus, we've got new Hondas arriving daily. Just another reason why it's better at Barker, your elite award-winning dealer in Houma.
My cousin Cody Peeler was definitely somebody I looked up to. He established kind of my interest in sports. As a young kid, I didn't know if I was going to enjoy sports or not. Outside of that, just being around my parents and my family, as hard as they work, they showed me the right way to live and just to be the best I can be no matter what I do.
Hi, I'm Harvey Sharp, owner of BioPure Disinfection and Restoration Services. Whether it's your home or your business, BioPure specializes in disinfection application, along with water, fire, mold damage cleanup. BioPure's supercharged delivery system, coupled with our hospital-grade disinfectant, revolutionizes the standard of clean and is proven effective as a virucide, sanitizer, disinfectant, and a fungicide. Call BioPure today to get your free consultation at 985-322-3003.
Whether it's price, service, or selection, you gotta come to AJ Doman Chevrolet. We are South Louisiana's newest business elite, medium duty, and commercial dealer. Can't find the car you're looking for? Let us order it for you.
And remember, no credit, bad credit, we can help.
AJ Doman Chevrolet at the foot of the Morgan City Bridge.
Give us a call today or visit us online at ajdomanchevy.com. AJ Doman Chevrolet, the dealership that works for you. Highway 182 in Berwick.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
Terrebonne General Health System, where medical science meets the art of caring, is committed to providing the latest advances in medical technology with a gentle, caring touch. This is evident in our high-tech, high-touch approach to healthcare. As a trusted healthcare resource, we deliver both life-saving, compassionate inpatient services and life-changing preventive care, while also providing wellness needs and outreach throughout the Bayou region. To learn about how Terrebonne General is providing innovative healthcare solutions, visit tghealthsystem.com.
I miss my normal life and doing things with my friends. Why are mom and dad angry all the time? When will I be able to see my grandparents again? I miss them.
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
You gotta try this. And some of those. Ooh, and definitely that. Go ahead. Help yourself to some more. You won't be disappointed. And make sure you wash it down right. But just know you can only get it here. Off the eaten path where Cajun runs deep. Where? up and down Louisiana's Cajun Bayou in Lafourche Parish. Y'all come visit. We're just 35 miles south of New Orleans. Hungry? Let's eat!
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrible General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
All right, Coach, obviously another school deep in tradition, a lot of good football teams in the past, a lot of great players coming out of Thibodaux. Just a little bit about how you ended up at Thibodaux and how happy you are to be at Thibodaux.
Well, I'm a 1993 graduate of Thibodaux. Was on the state championship team in '91. That was my junior year, offensive lineman. So Thibodaux was in my blood. Started off at Assumption, and this is actually my second stint at Thibodaux. I was an assistant coach at Assumption. Got to coach some good players over there: Tremont Williams, Brandon Jacobs, Jordan Mills. Very lucky. Went through it a good time. Came over to Thibodaux as an offensive coordinator under Coach Lenny Ford, who's a good friend still. When Coach Ford left, I came over to Terrebonne High. Coached with another real good friend who's out of coaching now, Gary Hill. Brought me over as his offensive coordinator. Had the distinct pleasure of coaching some really good players over here. Won a district championship with Gary in 2010. The Williams brothers, Mike and Justin Williams, dynamic players that we had back then. And the job ended up opening up at Thibodaux. So decided to go back home. Been lucky enough to, again, coach some really good players. Amik Robinson, who's with the Raiders. DeMarcus Mitchell, who had 2 tackles last night with the Patriots. So it's a tradition-rich program, and happy to be back, and it's home.
You lead me right into my next question, because all that talent, all those players know, because I'm sure y'all name drop as coaches, hey, if you want to be like so-and-so, you got to put in the time. Do you find they grab onto that pretty well?
Yeah, a lot of our kids, at this time, they weren't born. They don't remember the state championship in '91. Some of their parents weren't even born at that time, so.
I remember y'all had a great team.
Yeah, we should. Good group. But they remember the name of Meek Robertson. That's not too far off. And they remember the name Trevon Reed. I had the pleasure of coaching Trevon his sophomore and freshman and sophomore year before I left and came to Terrebonne. They remember DeMarcus Mitchell. He's not that far removed either. So we've got some guys that we can say, hey, like you said, you want to be like this guy. This is the blueprint. You got to follow the blueprint. And they, some of them take the advice, some of them don't. But hopefully more do than don't.
I always like to ask this question to somebody who's coached a guy who's made it to the big time. What separated that kid when he was at Thibodaux High or Assumption? What separated him that you knew that guy's special? There's something. Now Brandon Jacobs was a little different. He was a freak. But them other guys, something separated them to make them where they are today.
Amik, you could just see how driven he was, as a player, because Amik was 5'9", 170. Wasn't the biggest kid in the world, but always the last one to leave practice. Always willing to put in the extra time. Always the first one there to the weight room. And a leader, just a vocal leader with his team, and also led by example, and in the classroom, he was one of those kids that didn't have to go to junior college, was qualified right away, made the required ACT score right away. Great character, he's a guy that you can go ask any one of his teachers. Back in the day, I don't think the kid ever had a referral from more or less than a dress code or a tardy or anything, He was just the example, and you could tell he was driven, and that one day, he was going to get to where he is now.
But that comes also from parenting or somebody, a guardian who sort of takes him and guides him the right way. But y'all become their guardians. And so y'all got to try to keep them all in line, right?
Right. Well, you think of it like this. Those kids spend more time with us sometimes than they spend with their own parents, because they're at school for 7 hours a day, and then you got 2.5, 3 hours of practice after that, and then you might have a little film time. You come in on Saturday mornings and watch film. So that's their family away from their family. We become the second family. So a lot of those guys come back and they say, Coach, I understand what you were saying when you said that. I didn't understand it when I was 16 years old, but I understand it now. I know what you were talking about.
Do you ever have a chance to bring on Amik Robinson back to your team and let him speak to him and tell him, this is how I was at Thibodeau High, and this is where I'm at today?
Trevon did that for us. Trevon came back when he was with the Seahawks. He had just left Auburn, and he was with Seattle, and he came back and he talked to the guys, and he kind of told them, he said, look, I know there's some influences out there that try to pull you different directions, but you need to listen to these guys here because they understand. They got your best interests at heart. They're not just telling you because they want something out of you. They really want to see you succeed. And Trevon understood that better than anybody else. And now I think he's a player personnel director at Auburn. Over there, he's doing great. And he's just one of those guys that walk into the room, immediate charisma. He still does the celebrity basketball game at Thibodeau and stuff. And I mean, just a great guy for the community.
In the aftermath of Hurricane Ida, insurance companies may try to pay you much less than your losses or even deny your claim altogether. St. Martin and Bork and Hoffest Duval are partnering together to help you during this difficult time. Our hurricane insurance recovery attorneys will fight for you and your loved ones. Go to myidaclaim.com for your free case review today. Never give up because your insurance company has denied your claim, and never accept a lowball offer. Let St. Martin and Bork and Hoffest Duval help you weather the storm. Visit myidaclaim.com today.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. New GMC vehicles arriving weekly at your local dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
See your local GMC dealer.
Here at South Louisiana Bank, we support our neighbors, the organizers, the helpers, the leaders, the dreamers. We support those that move our community forward. Louisiana has grown from the dedication, commitment, and loyalty of the people who call this beautiful place home. We are proud to offer our services to the communities in South Louisiana. South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together.
For years, Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford & Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
I have such respect and pride for our company, and I'm excited to bring new and innovative ideas to our clients.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
I plan to attend school at Louisiana Tech for chemical engineering. I appreciate being nominated for this award because it shows that other people are seeing how much time I invest in a school, knowing that the countless hours I put into it aren't being wasted.
Cardiovascular Institute of the South's Ambulatory Surgery Center offers patients advanced and innovative outpatient procedures using the latest technology and treatment options. The first of its kind in the region, this center provides our patients and their families with high-quality care in a convenient, comfortable, and safe environment at a lower cost. Trust your care to the cardiovascular care team you know and love at CIS. Learn more at cardio.com.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities including driven piles, drilled deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Insurance companies often deny, delay, don't pay enough. Hurricane Ida has decimated Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. By now, you've heard that thousands of people have been taken advantage of by their insurance companies. Don't give up. At Waits & Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. So once again, don't give up. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to do. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you. Pick up the phone, 985-876-0870 for a free consultation.
All right, we are back at Ellendale. Of course, we're remembering Dr. Jerry Haydell, celebrating his life. And as promised, I've been telling you that we were going to have the four sons hit my four sons, okay? And we have Carl. Here, I'm going in the pecking order here, right? Carl, Michael, Larry, and Patrick. And what a household that was. And we're going to get to hopefully some of the girls in a second. But Carl, let me start with you. You know, it's a sad time, but God, it's so fun to remember your daddy. So many people come up with these stories, and I'm going, I never heard that one. There are thousands of stories out there about your dad. Well, what kind of stories would you have about your dad?
There are a lot of stories. He did a lot of things. I think Father Jay mentioned it about when we were at Grand Isle. He backed up the blue station wagon into the boat launch with no trailer on it. He backed it down there, and he looked back there. We all looked at each other, started cracking up laughing. And he looked at all of us like, you know, he pulled it out, fussing at us. Like, what's wrong with y'all? What y'all didn't put the trail on there for? It was like, okay, well, you know, we didn't back up the car in the water. So anyway, that's a story. And then Father Jay kind of messed up the thing about when Nally was having labor pains at the house. He called it Briggs and Stratton contractions with a straight face. I said, Dad, Briggs and Stratton? I said, that's your mud boat. I said, Braxton Hicks. Well, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, yeah, you know. And so, you know, it is priceless. It is priceless. So the stories go on and on and on and on. And so, but anyway, he touched so many people's lives in so many ways, and so many people adore him. He was hard on us, though. Yeah. He was hard on his sons. And, but he wasn't always our friend, but he had a purpose. And I'll say this thing too, and I'll say it, that he never once said, Carl, you need to be a doctor, you need to go to med school. He didn't have to. He created an environment around us that we watched what he did, he loved what he did, he was proud of what he did. And it's like, there was no other choice. There was no other choice but to follow in those footsteps. He didn't have to say a word. And then once I got into med school, and then Mike and Larry were like, well, if Carl can do it, anybody can do it. And Daddy. That's true.
That's a good point, Carl.
It is a good point. You're like, well, shit, he can do it. Well, I can do it. I can do it too. So anybody can do it.
You know, let me just ask you, and all brothers will have equal time, I promise you. When growing up, we remember the Dr. Jerry after I quit. You know, we all quit being teenagers. He was strict. You're right, he was strict. But he started getting fun and funny at one point. I guess the pressure was off. He didn't feel that pressure anymore. He was the biggest clown of anyone. He knew how to cut up and have fun.
That he did.
When did you see that change? When he quit being all on Carl, but then he started having fun?
Well, I don't know. That's a hard one to say for me, because I was off in school. So for the better part, you know, when I left to college, I really never came back. And so I think probably Patrick was there probably for a lot longer period of time when maybe those things started happening. But for me, no, he was always tough. In my eyes, he was always tough on me.
Did you get the piano playing by watching your dad?
They made me take piano lessons while y'all were outside playing football in the rain. They made me sit in there and take piano lessons. And I hated it. And I hated it with a passion. But what they gave me was a gift. They gave me a gift of something that I love to do today.
Right.
And at the time, I hated it.
Now we can't get you away from the piano.
And now you can't get me away from the piano. So it was a gift. It was just a gift they gave. And you don't know the gift they give you until later in life.
Let me say this as we're about to go to break. Remember that time you were playing the piano and I was singing Easy, and we kept singing it and going over everything. We'd mess up singing again, and we're talking in the microphone and we're cutting up. And then your mama comes around the corner and says, "Why y'all quit, boys?" And we was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Me and Dr. Jerry have been listening to you on the intercom in the room the whole time." They had the intercom on. Remember that?
I remember, yeah, Easy like Sunday morning. Lionel Richie, we did a lot of Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
So, yes.
But strict is how you remember him, but put you on the strict but fair, put you on the right path.
I would say strict and fair, yes. I would say he's fair. He was fair.
Yeah.
He was fair.
But he was definitely a pioneer, as Larry said during his eulogy.
He was a pioneer. He was definitely a pioneer. He wasn't scared. He wasn't scared. And I'll say one other thing, and I'm going to pass it on to Michael because it's Michael's turn, is that in medicine, when he made a medical decision, he was as confident as anybody can be confident in his medical decision making. He knew what to do. He never second guessed himself. An air of confidence from early on. You know, so he's done a lot of good. So anyway.
I would say that air of confidence would be a good way to describe Dr. Jerry. And of course, we're going to a quick break here. When we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Michael Haydel, who, if this show is about Mike, I could tell you a lot of stories about Mike, but it's about Dr. Jerry, so I'll let him tell you stories about Dr. Jerry. But certainly, we're celebrating Dr. Jerry Haydel's life. We'll take a short break here from Ellendale. When we come back, Dr. Mike Haydel will have the floor. It's all next. Don't go away.
So overwhelmed. Being a mom, wife, employee, and now a teacher is exhausting. How do I keep my family safe from everything going on in the world?
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. That's what we call revolution, and the revolution is closer than you think. Welcome to Rev.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you are in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford and Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's not just about insurance. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
We analyze and then custom design your insurance policies to fit your business's needs, not the insurance carriers.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
All All right, we are back here at Ellendale Country Club celebrating Dr. Jerry Haydell's life. And, of course, I'm with his 4 sons. And you just heard from Carl a while back. Now we're going to talk with Dr. Mike Haydell, a childhood, very dear friend of mine. That wasn't a day went by that I didn't see Mike and probably a lot of his siblings. But Dr. Jerry just meant so much to so many different people, and he influenced so many people. And in you, I saw he tried everything. A lot like yourself.
He did.
You're a pilot. You do different things. You got different businesses. How much of that rubbed off on you?
A lot. My dad pushed the envelope on just about everything he did. And I can remember back when I was graduating from Vanderbilt High School in 1979, 1 year after you, right? And I remember telling him, Dad, I'm not sure what I want to do, even though I know deep down I wanted to be a physician. I said, I don't know what I want to do. I want to be a pilot, and I want to be a doctor, and I just don't know what to do. And he said, son, why limit yourself? Just be both. And ever since he told me that, I've kind of lived by that, where live outside the box. Don't limit yourself. Don't put yourself in a box. And so I learned that from him very early on. So I've done that. Everything I wanted to do, I did. Because of that advice. And he was very, very committed to his family and his career. In fact, they may or may not remember this, but I remember us sitting around the dining room table, and I remember him putting his glasses down to his nose, kind of looking at us, saying, boys, you don't go to school that long to retire. Doctors don't retire. And so we're all looking at each other like, man, I guess we got to wait till he dies before we retire. So, but Carl's still working, so I guess that's all good, you know.
I think Carl just took over part of his practice.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that I learned from him, but the deep-rooted thing is work hard, because he taught us by example to work hard. And don't put yourself inside of a box. Always be willing to go out there and fail 100 times if it takes that. But that's really what kind of sat in my soul from him.
One thing about your dad that I remember, it involves you, Mike, is that my dad was pretty strict too. So when I left my house going looking for a break at Dr. Jerry's, I wasn't getting it. Okay? Remember that time we painted the barn?
Oh, yeah.
And we intercepted him, and he came back home. We were going like, he's going to be so impressed with us. And then we didn't use treated lumber, paint the inside.
Rip it down, boys. Do it over.
That was a life lesson. I mean, he made us tear it down and redo it. But then he came out later and tried to, soften the blow a little bit. He was good for that, wasn't he?
He definitely was. So as Carl mentioned, he was strict very early on. And as time went on, he softened up. I think once he kind of knew we were okay, then he was okay. And he became not as strict. He was always a loving father, but he became, I hate to use the word friend, but it went from strict father to friend as he got older and older.
And that's sort of the way it ought to be, right?
I think so, yeah.
And he sure knew how to have fun. I mean, Mardi Gras. I always would turn around on my float, and he always rode behind in the other float, right behind it, and he would be throwing that one bead at a time. So I'd always fire a football his way or something, and it would whiz bomb, and he would turn around and go, hey, boy. But he loved Mardi Gras, didn't he?
He loved Mardi Gras. He sure did.
I mean, is that something, where did that passion come from? Because he had a passion for everything.
Everything he did, and as Larry mentioned in the eulogy, he did so much. That list is a mile long. Mardi Gras is just one of those things.
Yeah.
But whatever he did, it was full throttle. It was never half throttle.
And the pull do gumbo at the camp.
Yeah.
Ain't that the best damn pull do gumbo you ever ate? I said, yeah, it is, Doc. It could have been neutral or anything. I just hope it wasn't armadillo like you said. That would have freaked me out. But anyway, so but y'all all sort of caught on to the medical profession, and the girl side too in medical profession. One teacher. So without saying it, it rubbed off, didn't it?
All of us. He paid for all of us to go to undergraduate and postgraduate. He was very devoted to our education. He paid for all our education, our apartments, our cars, got us. That's the one gift that was the most valuable thing to us, all with reputable careers, school teacher, like you said, 4 registered nurses, 3 of us MDs and doctor chiropractor. So education was huge for him.
Yeah,
Sure
there's no
was.
doubt about it. No, I know, sort of black bag by the coffin, and the black bag. How many times I saw that black bag come into 19 Austin Drive and either stitch me up or
On
give
the
me
dining
a
room table while we're eating supper. If you came in with a laceration, we're eating supper, we got used to it. It was
Yeah.
no big deal.
I mean, look at a
But
football
while he's eating
game.
supper, he'll turn around and suit you
Right.
up.
Yeah,
That's how it was
blood
back in the
didn't
day.
blood didn't scare him.
Yeah.
He was so used to that. And there you have it, folks, from Ellendale. That's Dr. Mike Haydell. And when we come back from the break, we're going to move on straight down the line. We're going to talk to Dr. Larry Haydell. And, of course, he gave the eulogy at today's services. And then we have Dr. Patrick Haydell. So don't go away. I'm sure this is going to get pretty interesting as we go along. And we're going to try to get the girls involved. We promise them we'll give them a shot at this. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Terrebonne Parish School District is now hiring bus drivers. A valid CDL is required. If you don't have a CDL, we will train you. You must be able to pass a medical health exam and a drug test. Salary range is $19,253 to $29,859. Benefits include free health insurance and retirement. Contact the TPSB Transportation Office at 985-876-7400.
You gotta try this. And some of those. Ooh, and definitely that. You won't be disappointed, but just know you can only get it here. Up and down Louisiana's Cajun Bayou in Lafourche Parish. Y'all come visit. We're just 35 miles south of New Orleans. Hungry? Let's eat!
HTV, bringing you local news and sports for over 36 years. From tragic events to heartwarming stories from the community, sports from the regular season and into the playoffs. We were there each time COVID struck. And when Hurricane Ida devastated the area, HTV was there before and after the storm, bringing you live storm track updates and coverage of the aftermath. When other news outlets left, HTV was there, helping those in need. So for your news, stick with the ones you know, the ones that know you.
All right, welcome back to Ellendale as we continue to bring you these segments from Ellendale. And thanks to the Haydell family for allowing us really to capture legacy. This is what it's all about. And what better way to do it than to interview his direct family. And Dr. Larry Haydell joins me now. And Larry, growing up, I'm sure Dr. Jerry had many Larry Haydell stories because you were a little younger than me and Mike and Carl, but your crew was very challenging to Dr. Jerry, so I'm sure there's some good stories in there.
Well, as much as he challenged my mom, I wanted to challenge him. So he did put my mom through a challenge, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he was always active in everything, and he was always a lot more outgoing than she was, of course.
Yeah.
My mom was a more quiet and very nice person. You know, my dad was just a totally different outgoing personality.
Yeah.
And he showed it in all the activities he did. You know, with his fishing rodeo, Mardi Gras, you know, everything that he did in his life. He was like very passionate about everything he did.
Yeah.
You know, surgery and all of the things he did outside of surgery.
Yeah.
I saw that in when he was working in surgery, how passionate he was about the cases that he did. I would talk to him all the time in the lounge. He would love to talk about the surgery. His partners would come in the lounge and they would just start talking about the cases, and he was always excited about surgery and talking about surgery.
Yeah.
I mentioned that in the eulogy as how he just loved surgery, and like I said, I've never seen anybody love surgery as much as that guy.
You talked about, was it Aramis, you said, the cologne?
He loved to wear Aramis cologne, and every time I go in the hospital, I knew he was there because I could smell it.
Yeah.
And I would go to the OR and talk to the nurse at the desk. My dad passed by, and she would say, yeah. I said, oh, okay, I can smell him. I go to the floor, and like I said, I knew he was up there. I asked the nurses, and they said, how do you know he's here? Because I could smell his Aramis. I mean, he would wear it all the time. In fact, before the funeral, we sprinkled some Aramis on his body so he would have that Aramis smell during the funeral.
That's unbelievable.
People probably don't know that. Right before everybody showed up, we sprinkled Aramis on him. Because
Wow.
Charlene got his Aramis bottle from the suites where he was staying and gave it to me, and we put a little bit on him.
Now, was Old Spice ever in the equation? Because Phil is people, and one other, I forget who else said that they remember Old Spice. So did he like switch midstream or something?
I've only known him using Aramis. Maybe Old
Okay.
Spice was when I was younger, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so he sort of morphed into something a little more expensive, huh?
Yeah.
So what do you remember? What did you learn the most as a surgeon? I mean, as a doctor today? What did you learn the most from really one of the most prominent surgeons that have ever come through Terrebonne Parish, your dad?
I learned a lot working with him, just seeing how he interacted with everybody in surgery and with his patients. I mean, they all loved him, and that's why they call him the legend now.
Right.
I go there every week. I'm in surgery, and I work with the same people who have worked with him every day.
Yeah.
And they're all like, hey, how's the legend? You know, every day I hear stories. And since he died, that has multiplied tenfold.
Yeah.
Since he died just in the last week, everybody comes up to me talking about Dr. Jerry and telling stories about Dr. Jerry.
Yeah.
And there's one particular story they may know a little bit about. He used to come home with a cluster of bananas at the house from work when we were growing up. And I never knew where the bananas would come from. I thought it was he stopping at the store buying bananas before he comes home from work. And for years, I never really knew. I didn't ask until he died. I was talking to a nurse this past week, and said he used to sit in the lounge with him, and he would sit there with that cluster of bananas. And he said, Dr. Jerry, what are you doing with these bananas? I said, well, you know, they have fruit that they bring to the surgery lounge, and I always grab the cluster of bananas and bring it to my wife because she likes bananas. I was like, that's where the bananas came from. I never knew where those bananas would come from that he would bring home, but he would steal them from the lounge and take it because he said my mom liked bananas.
Well, you shouldn't say steal. He probably
Well, he didn't
just
steal.
was just boosting up his pay a little bit.
It wasn't stolen. They was there for the doctors to take. And but to this day, I don't know if my mom even ate those bananas. We probably ate those bananas.
Yeah. He was trying to keep y'all.
That was funny though. That my whole life, I never knew where the bananas came from until he died, and a nurse told me that story just this past week.
And I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of stories over the years that you're going to go, hello. That's where he had so many stories.
Yeah.
I guess there's the secret. Look, Barry Williams came on just a little before y'all and pronounced to the world that your dad colored his hair.
Yeah.
Didn't we know that already?
Something to go back to what Carl said earlier, how he was very hard on us, you know, and he never really gave us compliments growing up, and I guess he didn't want us to stop trying.
Right.
But when I got to surgery, so many people said, well, you know, your dad was always in surgery. He would always brag about his children. They would always tell me this. I was like, really? I said, because he never did that in front of me. He would never tell it to us. But behind our backs, he would brag about us. And I think a lot of my siblings probably don't even know that. But I know it because I went to surgery. And they would tell me, these employees would say, your dad bragged about y'all every day in surgery.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt he was proud of y'all because he bragged to us about what y'all were doing. You know, Mike's flying here. You learn how to do this. Pat's doing this. Carl's doing this. Larry's doing this. So everybody else got to hear it. You're right. He didn't want y'all resting on your laurels.
No, he was an inspiration. He inspired all of us to do well in our lives.
So it's good to know that
he worked hard his whole life.
It's good to know all of y'all will be.
Yeah,
it's good to know all of y'all will be working till y'all 88 or 90.
It's going to be tough, but we'll try.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have Dr. Patrick Hadell next in line. Don't go away.
Don't give up. At Waits & Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits & Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
Shop, shop. Order curbside pickup online or with Rouse's Market Shopping app and let Rouse's personal shopper shop for you. Curbside pickup is free and you pay the same price for groceries as in store. Use code SAINTS20 and save $20 on orders of $100 or more. That's curbside convenience. Shop a style.
Oh, yeah!
U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a highly versatile company that will ship any size, any weight, anywhere. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a full-service logistics provider focused on expert packing, crating, and transportation solutions. The local oil and gas industry utilizes our professional crating and shipping services that support their offshore and international needs. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is authorized and recognized to construct shipping crates built for exports. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros, now at our new location at Capitol Boulevard.
West Park Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secure climate-controlled storage. Our professional storage counselors are here to assist you with all your storage needs. We now offer after-hour access, and you can access your unit 7 days a week. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access. West Park Storage would like to thank you for 20 years of business.
You gotta try this. And some of those. Ooh, and definitely that. Go ahead. Help yourself to some more. You won't be disappointed. And make sure you wash it down right. But just know you can only get it here. Off the eaten path where Cajun runs deep. Where? Up and down Louisiana's Cajun Bayou in Lafourche Parish. Y'all come visit? We're just 35 miles south of New Orleans. Hungry? Let's eat!
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. New GMC vehicles arriving weekly at your local dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
See your local GMC dealer. Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
HTV, bringing you local news and sports for over 36 years. From tragic events to heartwarming stories from the community, sports from the regular season and into the playoffs. We were there each time COVID struck. And when Hurricane Ida devastated the area, HTV was there before and after the storm, bringing you live storm track updates and coverage of the aftermath. When other news outlets left, HTV was there, helping those in need. So for your news, stick with the ones you know, the ones that know you.
All right, we are back at Ellendale, and we are just going right through the sons here. It's not my 3 sons, my 4 sons over here. And Patrick is up next, Dr. Patrick Haydell. And, you know, I see some pictures and some expressions that you make sometimes, and I'm going, if that ain't Dr. Jerry. But I see Dr. Jerry in everybody, but you make some mannerisms sometimes, I'm going, it's incredible. So, do you notice that?
Well, he always told me I was the best looking, the smartest, and the one with the most common sense. So, yeah, I think you're right.
So your daddy was not always truthful.
I guess he did lie a little bit. He probably lied. You're probably right. I was his favorite, though.
Okay. So tell me about your dad. So is that sort of where you get your sense of humor, or did it come from your mama's side?
My dad, growing up, had a lot of sense of humor. I mean, I grew up, at first I didn't really see him a whole lot, because he worked a lot. That's when he did all the different specialties. The only way I knew he was home, I could hear his keys. My bedroom was right over that key rack. You just purchased the house. But that key rack is where I always hear his keys jingling to put on the rack. But as time went on and they had more specialists, I got to spend more time with him and realize how funny he really was.
So Carl, Mike, and Larry called him a Lou in the strict side. Was he mellowing out when you were coming up?
Yes, I believe so. He was much more laid back. I had a good time with him. He was my best friend. We hung out, watched TV every night, and he's just been so nice to me. I spent a lot of time with him going to Grand Isle, to his 3 clinics. He lost 3 clinics on Grand Isle, so I got to spend time going to the clinics with him. I actually got to scrub and work in surgery with him. When I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I was thinking that maybe I wanted to be a surgical assistant. So he gave me an opportunity to see what that was all about. And I was a scrub tech, and I had to wheel this elderly lady down to the OR, and it had all the family gathered around because he had to amputate her leg off. And I was crying with the family. I was a hot mess. I was like, I don't know about this. This can't get any worse, I'm thinking. So I wheel her into the surgery. He amputates the leg. They wrap it up with this cloth, so it's shaped like a leg, and I got to carry this leg through the hospital. Well, little did I know, it was my first week at work, and I got lost. So I'm walking in front of the cafeteria.
You'll excuse me for laughing, but that's a story.
I'm walking by the cafeteria and say, anybody know where the lab is? And they're like, and it looks like a leg. And I'm like,
it's like Weekend at Bernie's.
That's exactly what I felt like. But I knew at that time he was testing me out and wanted to see if you really want to work in surgery, this is what you're going to have to do. And I realized this when I went to go to chiropractic school. I realized this is not the life I want to live. And that's when I moved on. I went to chiropractic school.
So, just for the record, you passed the cafeteria with a leg.
It looked like a leg. It was wrapped in that surgical cloth, and you could see the foot, and it was the whole leg. And I went from crying with the family to carrying this leg through the hospital. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't think I want to work here. And that's when I changed my major.
Right. But you know, the one thing I remember, and I remember he just passed, but that I know about your dad, he never lost his energy. Where did he get that energy?
He always had so much passion, but I have to say that he did always brag about his kids because he never wanted to retire. That was the one thing he always told me. is his papa. He learned that from papa. He said that papa worked till he died, and that's what I want to do. So I started going to these retirement seminars. And after the 5th one, I said, Dad, we can't keep going to these seminars. We keep eating their food and you don't hire anybody. So he calls me. I said, Patrick, there's another one. It's in Thibodeau. It's on the 2nd floor at Freeman's restaurant. Nobody's going to know us. So he picks me up an hour early. We go to Freeman's. We walk up at the top. And as soon as we reach the top of the stairs, I hear, look, it's Dr. Jerry Haydell. He's like, I'm not retiring. I was like, I'm not retiring. I'm just coming to listen. And then all he did in the whole seminar is brag about all 9 kids that he had no money because he spent on all 9 kids' education. He was all about education. He was passionate about continuing to work and educate his kids. And he loved us, and he worked very hard for it.
Remember that time when he was in the hospital and you were there, and I was telling him I was going to concrete around the barn. And he said, you know, I was going to do that, but then I brought that to Miss Jeannie. She says, no, you're not. We got too many kids to feed. So y'all would have had a driveway around the barn.
Yes, I think he could have used that for his rodeos. They could have passed that motorcade with all the boats around the barn. That would have been nice.
Did y'all ever think as a group how much it cost to educate all y'all and the girls?
I would think in the millions. He'd probably have an extra $10 million, I'm thinking. I don't know. But he did spend a lot of money on education.
Right.
Life's work.
Yeah.
From grammar school, regular college, postgraduate, we all went to professional schools.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very good. There you have it from the group. Let's show the 4 shot again. We'll start over there. You got Dr. Larry on the outside. You got Dr. Mike Haydell right here next to him. You got Dr. Carl Haydell next to him. You got Dr. Patrick Haydell next to him. Dr. Mike Haydell was the one that saved my life when I got stuck in the bottom of an underground hole trying to get to the neighbor's house. Yeah, I was panicked. I mean, I was caught 50 feet underground. What was it, 5? I did that on purpose. So anyway, a great family, like my brothers, growing up with these guys. And just a fun play. First, Austin Drive, then the Acosta house, then Dr. Jerry's house. And to me, it's always Dr. Jerry's house. So we'll take a short break. We'll be back with a lot more. We're going to try to round up the girls. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Harvey Sharp, owner of BioPure Disinfection and Restoration Services. Whether it's your home or your business, BioPure specializes in disinfection application, along with water, fire, mold damage cleanup. BioPure's supercharged delivery system, coupled with our hospital-grade disinfectant, revolutionizes the standard of clean and is proven effective as a virucide, sanitizer, disinfectant, and a fungicide. Call BioPure today to get your free consultation at 985-322-3003.
Congratulations to Barker Honda. Barker Honda has been awarded American Honda's 2021 President's Award Elite status. Only 10 Honda dealers nationwide have been recognized as an elite dealer. Elite in sales, elite in financial services, elite in parts and service. Plus, we've got new Hondas arriving daily. Just another reason why it's better at Barker. Your elite award-winning dealer in Houma.
Was your business interrupted by Hurricane Ida? You may be entitled to compensation. Insurance companies may try to pay you much less than your losses, or even deny your claim altogether. St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duval are partnering together to fight for your fair payout. Go to myidaclaim.com for your free case review today. Never give up because your insurance company has denied your claim, and never accept a lowball offer. Let St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duval help you weather the storm. Visit myidaclaim.com today.
It's hurricane season. What's your game plan? The start of hurricane season is a good time to review and update your plans. Emergency plans should address the following: basic emergency supplies, a list of emergency broadcast stations, evacuation routes, and plans to protect your home and property. For more information on hurricane preparedness, visit TOHSEP.com.
This is Martin False live in Houma. We're in front of Hebert's Motel where water is up to the doorknobs at the motel. Telephone poles almost completely to the ground. This storm had some fury to it. The following morning, Hurricane Andrew had taken its toll on Terrebonne Parish.
But the stick doesn't lie.
No.
That, you know, they said it started moving north-northwest. That was a jog.
It's a very tense day for Terrebonne Parish. Levee after levee has been breached. You won't know until it equalizes how many of them have actually broken. And I'm just looking at that stick shot again. That center circulation has moved back on the stick, and Lafourche and Grand Isle to me are ground zero at this point.
It's moving right up the stick, and that stick goes directly over Grand Isle and Fouchon. All right, we are back at Ellendale, and as promised, we got almost all of the girls. Carol's somewhere around here, but we're going to roll with what we have. We have Heidi. Of course, Heidi was the senior member of the kids, and she's going to talk. And then, of course, we have Charlene, another daughter here, and Jeannie, another daughter. And we have a granddaughter, Madeline. That's Mike. You saw Dr. Mike Hayden a while ago? That's his daughter. So we're well represented here. Heidi, let me turn to you, because just growing up, you know, the boys thought your dad was pretty strict and all that, and he was. But I don't know when the transformation came, because we sort of knew him on the outside. He was strict to me, I guess, when I was this tall. When I got to be this tall, he loosened up quite a bit. You saw both sides of him, didn't you?
Well, when I grew up, I didn't see Daddy much. He just worked all the time, and I really literally didn't see him. He was up at night doing surgery, sometimes 2 or 3 nights in a row, but I'd wait up for him a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember one night in particular, me and Mom, you know, teenagers, we got in a little tiff, and I waited up, you know, for him with my suitcase packed. And I said, and it was like 1 o'clock at night, and he came in and he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I want to run away. Can I go stay at Mama and Papa Haydell's?" And he said, all he said was, "Heidi, your mom needs you." And I said, "Okay." And I went back upstairs, unpacked all my shoes. That's all I packed was my shoes.
So he sort of reversed it.
He reversed it immediately. That's all he had to say, is your mama needs you.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't really discipline us. Mama was our discipline.
Right.
And Daddy didn't, he really didn't. He was always nice. He didn't spank us, and he didn't punish us either.
Right.
So
that was Miss Jean, right?
That was Mama.
Yeah.
Mama was our boss.
So you talked about the fact that he was always coming in late. Was it just a consensus that your daddy, I'm not going to say workaholic, because he played hard too, he fished hard, he had the camps, he did all kind of things, but everything he did, he had a tremendous amount of passion.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I've never seen a man love life with such a tenacity. He put his mind to something, he did it. And I don't think there was anything he wanted to do he didn't do before he died. And it was just so nice to see somebody like that. I adored my daddy as a child and growing up. And I know that, I know my sisters did, and our grandchildren. And I don't know, it was just, and I loved taking care of them and spending so much time with them the last few years. And recently, when he was going down, you know, Charlene and Jeannie were there every day. And I remember Madeline coming when he was still at home, and he was in his, you know, he couldn't really walk, and Madeline came and spent a good bit of time with him. And the fact we have a picture of me and her behind the chair with Daddy. So,
you know, he used to tell stories that, like the boy said, he never told them how good they were, but he sure told everybody else.
Yeah.
And he had a way of just bragging on his kids and his grandkids, and his memory was unbelievable. I mean, growing up, he didn't know our names because there was too many boys and girls. So it was, hey boy, or hey girl, but he knew everybody's name. Even to the day he died, his memory was fantastic.
Yeah, he was, and he would, you know, well, for Charlene, not too long ago when he was laying there, he just looked at me and says, Charlene's a good girl. And when we talk about Jeannie, he would just roll his eyes. He goes, that Jeannie.
Yeah.
You know, and so he was in Carol too, and all the grandkids, but Daddy loved us, and he was very proud of us. I know he was.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I'm just going to miss him. I know we're going to miss him.
No
It's a
doubt.
big void.
Let me do it a couple of minutes left. I want to ask Madeline something, because as a grandchild, we'd be passing the mic to Madeline. As a grandchild, I'm curious to know the impression y'all got as grandchildren of Dr. Jerry. We all saw him from a different arena. How about as a grandchild? How did you see him?
I'd say Pops was very playful and always joking with us, and he would always say, like, I'm his dancing partner every time I saw him, and he would get up and be like, that's my dancing partner. So he just always, like, made sure to, like, you know, look at us in the eyes and just make sure we remember him in a playful way. So
So did he come across as real confident to you all like he did to us?
Oh, yes. Yeah, he had his confidence for sure, but, you know, with age, he knows what he's doing, too. So.
And what was it like when all the grandchildren got together? I saw the Christmas pictures, and, I mean, it was one big party, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the Haydels, when we get together, we have a good time. So, and it was always nice to have Pops there.
Yeah. And where did the name Pops come from?
I actually don't know. Where did that come from? He picked it?
He picked it?
Yeah.
All right, so Dr. Jerry picked Pops.
I guess he did. I just learned that right now. So.
Yeah, well, there you go. You always learn something new. What are you going to remember most about your grandpa? Or Pops?
Pops. I'd say that I definitely learned his work ethic, and you could get anywhere in life if you work just as hard as Pops. And I'll always remember his friendly personality and just taking care of his grandchildren. So.
Are you prepared to work 80 hours a week?
Not at this moment, but maybe one day.
Because he sure did.
He did. He worked all the time. He was a hard worker, so I'll remember that.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And good to have y'all. All right, there you have it from Ellendale. As some of the ladies in Dr. Jerry's life, we'll take a short break. And there you have it. What a great celebration of Dr. Jerry. I know you don't see this often from a funeral reception, but we just thought the legacy is so important in this case, so we'll take a break, and thank y'all for joining us.
At Cypress Stop, located on the corner of Savannah and 311, is your one-stop shop for all your seafood needs. We have blue and Dungeness crab, shrimp, crawfish, all the fixins, boiled and unboiled, including Mickey Brown's original banded tamales found exclusively at A&B. Want to boil at home? We also have live seafood. Come on into the Cypress Stop, conveniently located a few feet away if you need seasoning, propane, fuel, bait, ice, beer, or hot food. We also have a large selection of wine, liquor, and vapes.
Terrebonne General Health System, where medical science meets the art of caring, is committed to providing the latest advances in medical technology with a gentle, caring touch. This is evident in our high-tech, high-touch approach to healthcare. As a trusted healthcare resource, we deliver both life-saving, compassionate inpatient services and life-changing preventive care, while also providing wellness needs and outreach throughout the Bayou region. To learn about how Terrebonne General is providing innovative healthcare solutions, visit tghealthsystem.com.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a highly versatile company that will ship any size, any weight, anywhere. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is a full-service logistics provider focused on expert packing, crating, and transportation solutions. The local oil and gas industry utilizes our professional crating and shipping services that support their offshore and international needs. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros is authorized and recognized to construct shipping crates built for exports. U-Drop Shipping and Crating Pros, now at our new location at Capitol Boulevard.
Hit the road in the all-new 2022 Mitsubishi Outlander from Barker Mitsubishi. Drive one today starting at $26,995. Plus, get the confidence of an industry-leading 10-year warranty. The summer sales event at Barker Mitsubishi. Going on now.
Leg pain, swelling, or ulcers can be signs of vascular disease in the legs. This lack of blood flow can lead to amputation if not treated. Varicose or spider veins may also be signs of venous disease and are more than just a cosmetic problem. Trust the most advanced team of leg pain specialists at Cardiovascular Institute of the South to reopen blockages in the legs and offer minimally invasive in-clinic vein treatments. If you experience leg pain, swelling, or have visible veins, schedule an appointment with us today at cardio.com.
All right, we are back at Ellendale, and very privileged to have the CEO of Terrebonne General Health Systems, Phyllis Peoples, who, I got to say, this is a great one to interview because before she was the CEO, she was just like all of us. She was hanging around the Haydell House and hanging around with Charlene, and they were just, everybody was having fun. And Phyllis, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Martin.
I mean, we knew what it was like on the boys' end. What was it like on the girls' end? Because y'all would have Dr. Jerry in stitches. Y'all were funny. Y'all were cutting up, but he was pretty funny too.
Dr. Jerry was amazing. It was amazing, but his family is too. I've known all of them since, I didn't go to St. Francis. I went to St. Bernadette, and I got to know Charlene and a large group of us in 8th grade, and we've been friends since. And so it was wonderful. We had, of course, we knew Mike and Carl, Larry. That was all the age group that was my familiarity, and we had a wonderful time, always.
Let me ask you, because as CEO of such a large hospital setting, and then, of course, you sort of grew up in that setting with him, but seeing Dr. Jerry, just always driven. Isn't that the kind of doctor that you really like to have in your hospital plan?
Dr. Jerry never said no, always had a wonderful story, and unfortunately he remembered the past really well. So even if I was in this position, he still remembered us when we were younger. And he knew my dad and my family, all this time. And so I have my dad's sense of humor, which may or may not be favorable, but it was good. It was good. I was telling Charlene, I know in the eulogy they talked about Aramis. I only remember Old Spice a lot, because I'd say, Dr. Jerry, what's that smell? And he said, honey, that's my Old Spice. I'm still looking good. Yeah. And you knew he was coming. He was just a wonderful person to work with.
And you talk about your dad. I remember your dad at the duck camp. And it seemed like the duck camp, just like the house was the hub for us teenagers, the duck camp was the hub for a lot of people to go there and tell exaggerated stories and have fun. Your dad was there too.
Very exaggerated stories. Very exaggerated stories. But you know what? What's the most wonderful part of tonight or today is hearing about Dr. Jerry, but also knowing how much love there is in that family and the household and between all of them. And we can sit down. We have a group of friends that have been friends since we've been 14. I won't tell you how old we are today, but you got it. Yeah. And we've stayed friends, and we can come back together, and it'll be just like we were back in 8th grade, and that's a wonderful asset to have. Not everybody has such a wonderful friend group. And that speaks a lot about Miss Jean and Dr. Jerry. Miss Jean ran a tight ship, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she ran a tight ship.
She had the intercom system to reach out whenever.
Yes, she did. And so everybody had fun, but when Miss Jean got involved, everybody stood up straight. And so it was a wonderful environment. We had a great time.
Miss Jean kept Dr. Jerry straight.
I didn't get to be, I didn't see that part as much.
I did.
I knew the kids.
Well, let me ask, how does it, you see different surgeons, but to hear how Dr. Jerry did a little bit of everything. And, now in the hospital today, everybody specializes, but my God, he was doing 10 different things.
That was way before my time. Today, that would be nothing that we would have or be able to do. Yeah. And he used to tell me what he was going to do, and I'd say, no, Dr. Jerry, no, we're not doing that anymore. We have different processes and policies and regulations. But he remembers when Terrebonne General was very, very small, not the large institution it is today with a multitude of specialists and over 200 physicians, but he held everything together, and his dad did, and all his brothers did, and my legacy, I've been there 20 years as CEO, is to just be able to pass it on with the same strength that I got it. Yeah. And he was one of those foundation people, and we're real proud of that.
What are you going to miss? Because I saw he really was a shy guy by nature. Because Dr. Jerry, believe it or not, when you would try to, he loved for you to talk about him, but he didn't want to talk about himself. But when y'all gave him that award a while back, and he got up and he started telling stories about Miss Kazayu and Dr. Kazayu, Dr. Jerry was pretty funny.
Dr. Jerry was hilarious, and we were able to honor him with the Golden Stethoscope Award. We were able to honor him for Doctor's Day and all his sons. It's a pleasure to work with all his sons and them to be able to take pictures and see him in surgery. It really is nice. It really is nice. And, you know, I got to be part of the journey as Carl was in school and Mike was in school. We all went to UL together. And I don't know if I should tell this story, but I remember.
Sure.
No. And some days they made us earn using the car and things like that, as brothers would. Right. And we swore one day we'd get them back. Now, little did I know I'd be in this position, but it sure helps.
What are you going to miss the most about a guy like Dr. Jerry?
Oh, he always had a smile. He always had a kind word. He never, ever put anybody down. He made a joke, asked about everybody's family and things, and he just was a good dad to everyone. Yeah. That's what we'll miss the most.
And I guess his leadership qualities came by watching him, right?
I think he was a great guy. He had a lot of knowledge from the past, and he liked to carry it. He loved to teach, and he loved to be a part of it. And so he always wanted to be included, and that became his legacy.
He'd have been a good professor, right?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah. All right, there you have it. Miss Phyllis Peoples. She's been there, she said it, 20 years at Terrebonne General, and she's still going strong and run a great operation. And to see her come from being friends with Charlene inside the household to being the head of the whole entire hospital and seeing all these doctors come through, including Dr. Jerry, was really something to see. So we'll take a short break here from Ellendale. We have a lot more stories from family members, and the sons are coming up soon, and we're trying to talk some of the daughters into talking as well. So we'll take a short break. Phyllis, thank you so much.
Martin.
Good to see you again. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you are suffering from chronic cough, bronchitis, reactive airway, or persistent asthma that's difficult to control, or diagnosed with COPD, please listen carefully. You may be suffering from allergy sinus bronchial asthma syndrome. For as we now know that undetected or uncontrolled infection in the upper airway can affect the lower respiratory tract. If this is happening to you, please call us for an evaluation.
Whether it's price, service, or selection, you gotta come to AJ Doman Chevrolet. We are South Louisiana's newest business elite, medium duty, and commercial dealer. Can't find the car you're looking for? Let us order it for you.
And remember, no credit, bad credit, we can help.
AJ Doman Chevrolet at the foot of the Morgan City Bridge.
Give us a call today or visit us online at ajdomanchevy.com. AJ Doman Chevrolet, the dealership that works for you. Highway 182 in Berwick.
Ameristar Roofing.
You never want a roof on top of rotten wood. You definitely want to go down to the decking to check any issues that you might have. Got to make sure we have a nailable surface. So make sure that nail grabs, that way those shingles don't go anywhere.
Every product that we install, we're certified to do it. We want to make sure that our installation is perfect and to spec. It's up to our crew leaders and to us to make sure that this thing looks exactly like the day it was built. So you don't see any low spots in the roof. We want it to be exact.
Ameristar Roofing.
Reputation by recommendation.
West Park Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secure climate-controlled storage. Our professional storage counselors are here to assist you with all your storage needs. We now offer after-hour access, and you can access your unit 7 days a week. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access. West Park Storage would like to thank you for 20 years of business.
So I called my gynecologist. He called me a couple of days later, and he says, well, Lillette, you have cancer. If you're lucky enough to be in a town that has a cancer center, why not utilize what you have? They treated me like I was royalty.
Visit marybird.org/strength to learn more about Terrebonne General, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
Here at South Louisiana Bank, we support our neighbors, the organizers, the helpers, the leaders, the dreamers. We support those that move our community forward. Louisiana has grown from the dedication, commitment, and loyalty of the people who call this beautiful place home. We are proud to offer our services to the communities in South Louisiana. South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank.
Everybody, welcome into Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. Yeah, we're going to talk about Hurricane Ida. It's almost a full year, but we're still trying to put the pieces together to get our community back together. And there's a couple of ways that maybe we can help people get their housing back to date. And here to talk about it is, of course, Chris Pulaski is the Terrebonne Parish Planning and Zoning Director. Kelly Cunningham is the Director of the Department of Housing and Human Services for Terrebonne Parish. And Rick Armstrong also is a housing specialist with the Terrebonne Housing and Human Services. So guys, thanks so much for being here. And there's a couple of different things I know we want to talk about this time. One is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, and the other is the Weatherization Program. Two different things, but two things that can help kind of piece, as we were saying, kind of piece everybody back together and get them back going as far as housing. So these might be programs that people don't know, don't understand. So that's what you guys are here to hopefully clear some things up. So let's talk about the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program first, Chris.
Sure. So the Hazard Mitigation Program is a federally funded program, and it's just that, to mitigate hazards. So as it pertains to people's homes, the hazard is both your elevation. So if you're below the base flood elevation, then you run the hazard of having your home flooded. Additionally, Ida was a wind event. So the other hazard comes from high winds. So the mitigation that would occur in that situation is we build to a high set of standards, not just building code, but better than building code.
Like the day
fortified, right, fortified roof, that kind of thing. So the state recently announced $80 million for Terrebonne Parish was allocated. Now that includes the $17.68 million that was already allocated to Terrebonne Parish several months back. And a lot of that money was used to fund the current hazard mitigation program that we have for home elevation or reconstruction. Now, most of the applications that we received were for reconstructions. Of course, those homes that we rebuild through that program will be built to the +2 height. So whatever the base flood elevation is, add 2. And that's what we would build that house to. And we're also looking to build it to the highest set of standards that we can for as much as the program will allow. Now, we received, a little over 100 applications for this first round, and that's all it is simply the first round. There'll be future allocations coming and future programs set up. But that program is capped at $150,000 per structure, which is why I've been on the program with Clay Knockham before to talk about the demolition program that the parish has. It's very important that if anybody has a home that they're looking to participate in this program with, that any demolition of the old structure is done through the demo program. Because if you use hazard mitigation money to pay for the demolition, which it would, but that's that much less that you have to put towards the new house. Additionally, $150,000 is a pretty low number when you're talking about building to a high set of standards. So we're hoping that we might be able to find other funds either through the state or whomever to help subsidize some of those costs.
Again, piece some of those things together. Now, the what you're looking at, the level is a 50% level of damage to the house or what the house is worth, right? That's what you need to qualify?
That's one of the eligibility requirements, is that your home was substantially damaged. Now, what that means is if the cost of the repairs are more than 50% of the value of the structure, that's what FEMA determines to be substantially damaged. Now, the main focus of the parish right now is those folks who are in special flood hazard areas. Now, if you live in a flood zone, then that's a priority that we need to put on those applicants, because FEMA requires that we mitigate those structures that were in special flood hazard areas that were substantially damaged.
So it might have been damaged by wind, but since it's in a flood zone and you're below the base elevation, you'd still have to raise it, even though maybe it didn't never flood it.
Right.
But you'd have to go up to 20 feet or whatever it is, maybe down in lower parts of the parish.
That's correct.
And then you would go to 22.
Correct.
And but so when you raise a house like that, that seems like that would eat up a lot of that $150,000.
It's certainly not cheap. Now, a lot of the money too is spent on, like I said, the hardening of the house, building to a higher set of standards. But, the homeowner does have the ability to do other add-ons. There's only so much that's eligible to be paid for. Like FEMA, a quick example. FEMA will allow you to build a deck around your home if it's elevated, but that deck can only be so many feet wide, let's say 4 foot wide, right? If you want to go 8 or 10, you can do that. It's just the homeowner has to have that add-on under a separate contract with the same contractor, because the grant can only pay for what it can pay for.
Right. I got you. So again, it probably, once you have people working with you, it's probably not quite as complicated as it kind of sounds, and maybe it is. How can somebody get help to do this?
Yeah, great question. So yes, we, in an event like Hurricane Ida, which was so massive, I mean, that type of program with the number of applicants that ultimately we're going to have, it's not something we could do in-house. So we hire out consulting firms to aid us with these programs. Right now, we're sort of in between. Like, we put in an application, so those are being processed, and now we're gearing up for the next round of applications that will be due at the end of October. So right now, if anybody's interested, I would encourage them to contact the RAMP division, which is Recovery Assistance and Mitigation Planning, the RAMP division at Terrebonne Parish, and the phone number is 985-873-6565. Jennifer Gerbasi is our mitigation planner. She runs that division, and we're looking to bring on some additional staff to help her, in-house staff. But in the meantime, we're going to be working through some consultants.
And there's no more COVID restrictions. People can walk up and help out, or do they have to call to?
Well, no, they would need to call first. Yes. Those offices are in the government tower building, but she's right now kind of a one-person show up there. So I would encourage to call or go onto the website, tpcg.org/ramp, RAMP, and they could email Jennifer. And then that way she can reach out to them and set up an appointment.
How quick would somebody be getting this grant money and to rebuild? And I say that because obviously we're in the middle of a storm, and probably in a storm season, hopefully not a storm. So, and these are probably areas where people are still rebuilding from some past storms. And so now you're going to have a couple of grants overlapping or issue, hurricanes overlapping, but how fast will they get it to rebuild before this hurricane season or next?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side of it, is it does take a long time. At this point, I can't tell you that, you would have you'd be able to start building at, June of 2023. I can't
Right.
I don't know the answer to
Right.
that. I can tell you that we are still closing out programs from Gustav Ike.
Gustav and Ike. That was
Gustav
2008.
Ike, 2008. And it's 2022. In case anybody. Yeah. Yeah. You heard it right. It's 2022 and we're still closing out. That's some of these programs, that's how long it takes by the time you go through, and sometimes you hit a stopping point and you got to kind of go back and start again. Some people drop out of the program, so then we pick up somebody else. It's just a matter of making sure you have the right applicant. They meet all of the requirements. There's a lot of requirements. It's not something that just anybody can, if you've had homeowners insurance, that's not what these programs are designed for. It's for those folks who are either had no insurance or were underinsured.
Oh, that's wild. That's wild. So we're definitely going to have time to talk about the weatherization program. That'll be, we got another segment to talk about it, but off segment, and probably, I don't know the answer to this, so I probably shouldn't ask. The Ile de Jean-Charles folks, I've been seeing on Fox 8, they were all moving like this week or something. Is there something new to that?
Actually, just this morning, we signed the certificates of occupancy, which will enable the state to go to closings with those residents. I don't know when that's going to happen. I mean, the state's working on getting. I think anybody who's bought or sold a home knows that closings are, a big deal, and it takes a lot to get to them. And I think they have 12 that will be going on, but I would anticipate that, in the next, coming weeks, that they should be setting those up. And of course, for us, the contractor for the state is finishing up some of the remaining punch list items on the subdivision itself, and we'll be bringing that to the parish council for, your typical dedication and acceptance like we do every other
That subdivision is going to be out by St. Bridget's, kind of across the way over for Water Plant Road out in that. So
right around the Chevron, that big blue Chevron building in the back.
Right back there. So those folks you won't be rebuilding. None of this money will go towards Ile de Jean-Charles anymore, or will it?
Well, there may still be residents on the island who weren't part of that program that would be eligible. But no, those residents, part of the deal for that resettlement project is they wouldn't be able to participate in something like this.
I got you. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Kelly and Rick as we talk more about government assistance programs. We'll be right back on Going Public.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Terrebonne General Health System, where medical science meets the art of caring, is committed to providing the latest advances in medical technology with a gentle, caring touch. This is evident in our high-tech, high-touch approach to healthcare. As a trusted healthcare resource, we deliver both life-saving, compassionate inpatient services and life-changing preventive care, while also providing wellness needs and outreach throughout the Bayou region. To learn about how Terrebonne General is providing innovative healthcare solutions, visit tghealthsystem.com.
Leg pain, swelling, or ulcers can be signs of vascular disease in the legs. This lack of blood flow can lead to amputation if not treated. Varicose or spider veins may also be signs of venous disease and are more than just a cosmetic problem. Trust the most advanced team of leg pain specialists at Cardiovascular Institute of the South to reopen blockages in the legs and offer minimally invasive in-clinic vein treatments. If you experience leg pain, swelling, or have visible veins, schedule an appointment with us today at cardio.com.
A new company with a lot of history. GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Pelican Waste and Debris is your local company. We don't just work here, we live here and understand the unique challenges that face our region. Our commitment to our community and customers and love for Louisiana keeps us motivated. Pelican meets every residential and commercial service need, offering roll-off, front-load, and compactor services, ideal for hotels, restaurants, apartments, construction or industrial sites, and much more. We also make recycling simple and cost-efficient, offering single-stream recycling program options. We have set the highest standards for environmental protection, community engagement, and guaranteed client satisfaction. Visit pelicanwaste.net or call us at 985-873-9553 to save money with hassle-free service. Our team has over 100 years of experience, so we know how to make you happy. The sky is the limit, so fly with the Pelican.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. We're talking about housing and housing assistance for folks that are trying to recover from a storm, whether it be 2021 or 2008 in some instances. Chris Pulaski's here, Kelly Cunningham, and Rick Armstrong. They're with the Department of Housing and Human Services for Terrebonne Parish. So Kelly, let's talk about your program, and this was the weatherization program. First of all, can you explain how this differs from what we just talked about with Chris, and how other people may apply or may apply together? How's this work?
Sure. Again, this is also a federally funded program. It's funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. But the purpose of the program is to reduce energy costs for low-income households. And we do this by increasing their energy efficiency, and we also improve the health and safety of their homes. So households can apply to our office, the Department of Housing and Human Services, but to be eligible, households have to be at or below 200% of the income poverty guidelines for Terrebonne Parish. So essentially, a household of two could earn up to $36,600, and a household of four can earn up to $55,500 a year to be considered income eligible. So income eligible applicants will receive an energy audit. It's a computerized assessment of their home, and we also inspect all their energy equipment. But brought Rick here with me because he can describe, what steps are taken after we do that energy audit.
So when they come in, obviously you're talking about the audit. It's almost like a vacuum, right? And then they have a number that shows you how much energy is going out of the house. And so that's part of how you apply and how you receive a grant here?
Well, that whenever they apply, after they're qualified, then we go in and do the diagnostic testing.
I see.
And that'll tell us where they're burning the most electricity or the most gas and water. And then what we will try to do is to save them as much as possible on their electric bills.
Yeah. So Kelly, what can they do with assistance? Can they help with insulation? Can they help with maybe solar panels on the roof? What happens if they do qualify and they can get assistance?
So when the energy audit is done, an inspection is done to determine what needs are there to increase the energy efficiency of the home. So it could be wrapping a hot water heater, putting insulation in the attic. It just depends on what situation the house is in at that time.
Yeah, is it just that simple, Rick, or can you go, hey, you need newer shingles, you need maybe to put a steel roof on top of the, can it get to higher, or is it more just cosmetic like that?
No, it's more like cosmetic. Now, if there's things that need to be done to the roof, we will examine those, and we will tell them and let them know what needs to be done. But we will go in and we can insulate the attic, we can insulate the walls. And by doing the diagnostic testing, we put it into a computer program. We take a lot of pictures. We put that into the computer, and it will tell us what we can and what we can't do. And that program was designed by the Department of Energy.
Yeah, that's a real big thing right now, particularly with the energy prices, right? And the cost of we still rely on a lot of natural oil and natural gas for a lot of our energy costs. So, I mean, we all paying the same bills, right? It all seems like it's doubled from a year ago. But that's real important. So if they qualify, if you start doing that, will it also give them grants to help pay for their energy sources?
So we do have a separate program called the LAHEAP program, and we're actually taking applications right now. So someone can apply. The income guidelines are pretty similar, and you would receive a credit, if you determine eligible, a credit on your utility bill.
And how many folks do you think will be interested in doing something like this?
Well, I think that there are 300 people at the Civic Center today where we're taking applications.
Oh, wow. So, and y'all just getting started on this, right?
Correct.
So it's getting out, and I guess this would be something somebody would really want to help out, right?
I think it's much needed right now for everyone.
Yeah, I think a lot of people. Now, also part of the doing that would be finding people to do work and all. Y'all would have people to help them with that, or do they have to find a contractor?
We actually have our own in-house crews, but we also do use outside contractors if we need to, because we are kind of short-staffed right now, but
you would be the contractor, is what I'm saying. So that you don't just go, hey, go get it done and we'll write you a check. Right?
That's right.
So you help people, because like I said, I know a lot of folks, you see them all the time. They're still living out in their trailers, right, outside of their house. They can't find a contractor to do the work right now. So that would help to have somebody doing that kind of work. So what's the most, like, if there's one thing people need to do, is it windows? Is it multiple different things?
No, it's usually multiple different things. Just what the weatherization program does is we try to stop the outside air from getting in. And a lot of times it could be just needing to caulk windows or put weather stripping indoors. But a lot of the times it's what we call communicating between the house and the attic. Because whenever we do the diagnostic testing, we put the blower door in the door, we put a negative pressure in the home. And that shows us where a lot of the leaks are. And a lot of times it's when the hot, humid air is coming from outside or from the attic. And then your air conditioner has to work that much harder to dehumidify and to cool that air.
Right. And yeah, no, I mean, it's a common issue. Obviously, you got to have airflow in a house, and
exactly.
you got to make sure you do it right. You can't just caulk it all up.
No,
and then that wouldn't be good either, right? So it's nice to have a professional to be able to do it. Now, this applies for brick and mortar houses. Can it do mobile homes, all of those?
Yes, we can do mobile homes. We can do stick-built houses, brick houses.
Okay, so how would somebody apply for these grants? Okay.
So they can call our office, and the number is 985-219-2910.
And I see that you do have priority populations.
Yes. So it would be anyone at or below 200% of poverty guidelines for Terrebonne Parish.
Oh, I got you.
Yep.
Well, I was reading elderly people.
Right. It is. There are priorities for elderly and families with children.
Right. So when you talked about 4 people, $55,000, that could be kids?
Well, it's the entire household. So if you have a household of 4, the gross income for that household.
But they don't have to be working age, right? I mean,
it doesn't matter. As long as it's just based on the number of people in the household.
I got you. So it could be your grandparents. It could be a couple of generations of
Absolutely.
people. And you might only have one income. So that would really help out a lot. So, Chris, let's talk a little bit more about what you were talking about. And how do folks get in touch with you guys? It should be an email or phone call. Y'all know not at the Civic Center like they are right now.
Correct. When we had the previous application batch open, we did hold some outreach. I think it was at the Municipal Auditorium and one at the Dumas. But we will be doing, like I said, another round of applications. So I would encourage people to be on the lookout for any of those meetings. But for the time being, if someone is interested, at least saying, look, I'd like to get my name on the list, so that way, once we have our consultant in place for this next batch, they could go to that list and start calling those people back and getting their information and really putting them into the system to see if they would be eligible. And that's our RAMP division with parish government. It's the 985-873-6565 is the number. You can go online to tpcg.org/ RAMP, RAMP. And Jennifer Gerbasi, you'll see her email address there, and you can send her an email.
And you were talking, you had a little over 100. How many folks could you look for?
Well, I mean, it's really just a matter of how the allocations are doled out by the federal government, and then what other projects is the parish in need of that hazard mitigation money would be used for.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to just go to just one program.
It does not have to go to just housing, although housing is a top priority. There are other projects that we need just as bad. And we're talking about major, public facilities and things like that. But again, the hazard mitigation, whatever project it's being utilized for, it has to have as part of it that function. You're mitigating a hazard.
I got you.
We can't use it to, go build another, softball field or something like that, right? Not that that's not important. It certainly is. But it's not mitigating a hazard.
Yeah, let's not get the recreation folks involved right now. Hey, Kelly, same question. You said there was 300 people that showed up at the Civic Center. How many people can you take into this program?
So the people at the Civic Center were actually applying for utility assistance, which is a credit to their bill. But for the weatherization program, it's a rolling program. So it's annually. We do get a contract every year. So this year, we're probably going to weatherize at least 30 homes. But it will continue. We'll continue to take applications every year.
And I would imagine there's some comorbidity, right, in those groups, right? You're over there looking for a little help with your power that say, hey, this might also help you. Why don't you get in this line and look for the weatherization, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, I guess it never stops, right? And you guys are always looking for, ways to help people out. And I guess if anybody's really having a tough time, I know a lot of people are having a tough time probably paying their bills right now. There might be a program they need to just call and find out where they might fit, right?
Yeah, I would encourage people to contact parish offices and see whether it's Kelly's department or ours. I mean, although it, and just be patient with the person who's taking that call and explain to them what it is that you're in need of. Now, they may not be the right person, but hopefully they can get you directed to the right person.
Right. They can go somewhere and there'll be some kind of program, hopefully, that can help out and get people back to, where they need to be. So, guys, I appreciate it. So, Rick Armstrong, Kelly Cunningham, and Chris Pulaski. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, Harry.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right. That's Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. We'll see you guys next time.
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Your Buick parks itself. That's so you.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kind of got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yep.
So you.
It is.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you. New vehicles are arriving weekly at your local Buick dealers. Available for immediate delivery with no interest. See your local Buick dealer.
It's hurricane season. What's your game plan? The start of hurricane season is a good time to review and update your plans. Emergency plans should address the following: basic emergency supplies, a list of emergency broadcast stations, evacuation routes, and plans to protect your home and property. For more information on hurricane preparedness, visit TOHSEP.com.
West Park Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secure climate-controlled storage. Our professional storage counselors are here to assist you with all your storage needs. We now offer after-hour access, and you can access your unit 7 days a week. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access. West Park Storage would like to thank you for 20 years of business.
Dropshipping and Crating Pros is a highly versatile company that will ship any size, any weight, anywhere. U Dropshipping and Crating Pros is a full-service logistics provider focused on expert packing, crating, and transportation solutions. The local oil and gas industry utilizes our professional crating and shipping services that support their offshore and international needs. U Dropshipping and Crating Pros is authorized and recognized to construct shipping crates built for exports. U Dropshipping and Crating Pros, now at our new location at Capitol Boulevard.
HTV, bringing you local news and sports for over 36 years. From tragic events to heartwarming stories from the community, sports from the regular season and into the playoffs. We were there each time COVID struck. And when Hurricane Ida devastated the area, HTV was there before and after the storm, bringing you live storm track updates and coverage of the aftermath. When other news outlets left, HTV was there, helping those in need. So for your news, stick with the ones you know, the ones that know you.
And if we don't choose to know God's Word, to believe God's Word, and follow God's Word, we're going to be a sitting duck for all kinds of confusion, all kinds of disorder. Those are really important choices that people have to make.
And these choices are difficult. Who am I going to marry? What kind of life am I going to live? How am I going to raise my kids? What am I going to do with my time, my talent, and my treasure? And I have to make a choice today. Jesus says to each one of us, I came that you might have life and have it to the full. The question is, do we want it?
Welcome to another week of The Choices We Face. I just can't tell you how inspired I am by all the people all over the world who are following the Lord in really wonderful ways, and they hardly ever make the newspapers. Our guest today did make the newspapers because he was in charge of a newspaper. Dan Burke, welcome to have you.
It's great to be back with you, Ralph.
Yeah, really good. Why don't you just give a little introduction for people about your journey a little bit?
Yeah, well, last time I was here, we did the whole thing. So just in brief, I'm Jewish, and I still am. I'm a Hebrew Catholic, but I came to Christ in my 20s out of a despair, just because of a very rough childhood, and avid reader, and discovered the saints and some challenges in Protestantism that led me to kind of explore more deeply. And so I found myself being received and confirmed into the Catholic Church in 2005. And then the Lord quickly put me at work in Catholic news, and I began with the National Catholic Register in 2008 as a rescue project. It's a tough time for newspapers, and so eventually EWTN acquired us. God be praised, and then I worked for EWTN up until December of 2019. I think that's right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you had some pretty major responsibilities at EWTN, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I eventually, when I left, I was overseeing the global news organization, television and print and digital and all of that. So it was, very rewarding. I love EWTN. Michael Warsaw is a very good man, Doug Keck, and all the other crew that work there. They're very devoted to the church, and it was a absolutely really amazing, beautiful experience through and through.
It seems like during your time there that there was an expansion, really, of what EWTN was doing. You really kept adding things and improving things. And
yeah, well, that would be an understatement, I think. We grew dramatically. We implemented some of my strengths are in the digital realm. So we grew exponentially in our digital outreach, and then once I became to oversee all of news, then we began to integrate the news outlets and work better together and really collaborate better, and that was it was just a blast. It was great to be in Rome. I was in Rome a lot, which I love to do. I love to be there. But most people don't know. I know you do. How much good EWTN does. I'm not a real fan of folks who criticize. It has weaknesses, there's no doubt, but the heart of EWTN is really the heart of God, to reveal the truths of the faith to as many people as it can reach. And there's no institution in our lifetime that even touches it in terms of impact.
Yeah. No, there's no question about it. And I've just been noticing how CNA is emerging as like a really go-to source for Catholic news.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. To some consternation with some, and some rejoicing in others, and it's always tough.
As fair and balanced as Catholic news can really be, I mean, still be orthodox.
Right. Well, it's tough. You know, some people don't want you to repeat the voice of people who you don't agree with, but authentic journalism, you say, well, this is one person's view, here's another person's view or perspective, and then most of the time under my leadership anyway, my goal was to try to sew that up and make sure people knew what the Catholic position was.
Yeah.
But it's journalism right now is a tough business to be in.
Well, there's hardly any fair and balanced journalism left. I mean,
it's all advocacy journalism.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, and unfortunately, when everybody goes advocacy, it's very hard to, you know. I think the register of all Catholic publications, the National Catholic Register, did and still maintains more of a traditional journalistic approach, but still thoroughly Catholic and committed to the magisterium. It's a tough rope to walk, but they're all doing great work.
You wonder what's going on in journalism schools these days, because it almost seems like everybody that gets a job at a newspaper has to be a dyed-in-the-wool ideologue.
Yeah, well, journalism doesn't exist anymore as a kind of a virtuous profession. You know, Alejandro Bermudez, who runs Catholic News Agency, typically hires those who are deeply orthodox and sound theological training, and then he trains them on the journalism side, because he doesn't want to have to unravel what they learned in journalism school.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a tough game.
Now, not too long ago, you actually left EWTN. Now,
I did.
Tell us a little bit about how that came about.
Well, there's a combination of reasons. One, the Avila Institute for Spiritual Formation has been growing really.
Explain what that is.
Yeah. So the Avila Foundation we have graduate studies in spiritual theology. We have School of Spiritual Formation for anyone. We're preparing guys for seminary in 25 dioceses. We've got spiritualdirection.com. We have a huge number of books and publications. We do speaking events. So all of that is, my wife's been running it, and only for a short period, but it's all been, the Lord's been pouring out blessing on it. So we've doubled our students population. We doubled our diocese. We're in 70 countries in the Avila Institute program, 190 countries in terms of readership. For spiritualdirection.com. So all of that's just been doing this. Yeah. And I've been wrestling with, big job at EWTN, running all the news, which is way bigger job, of course, than just managing the register. And then this thing's growing, and it's sort of like being on a dock where you got a foot in a big boat and a foot in a boat that's growing.
You got to make a decision.
Yeah, right, and they're drifting apart. So that happened, but also I got very sick. I've had lifelong illness, life-threatening illness, and it was escalating over about a 3-year period. I was in the hospital more and more. And I've dealt with that all my life. It's never really affected my career decisions, but I kind of thought this time it may be, and I was going to DC every week in hotels and airplanes, and it was just, everything was breaking down. And so I just said, well, Lord, I want to go to the Avila Foundation, but we're so frugal and we're so careful about serving the poor in particular. It's a passion of mine. We're a poor organization, and it couldn't afford, even a small salary. And so I said, well, if you want me to go, Lord, you gotta find someone to cover my salary. And he said, okay.
The Lord's going to cover your salary.
Right, and he did. So God be praised
I think
for
he does that a lot.
A generous donor, and it was just so clear it's his will. Because I honestly love EWTN, and there was nothing negative there that was pushing me to leave. But of course, my heart of hearts is about transformation in relationship with Christ, which is one of the reasons why you're one of my heroes and always have been, and why I love what you do at Renewal Ministries, is that you've never moved on that message.
Where else did it go?
Right. Well, listen, we're on the same page. So the Avila Foundation really was it's a dream now to be doing that full time.
That's really great. That's really great. Now, I heard that you went through COVID. Is that right?
I did. Yeah, I'm a survivor. I wasn't supposed to survive. I was on a ventilator. 8 out of 10 folks die. With my condition, I was on maximum medication, emergency medication, for every 4 hours that they give to COVID patients.
Wow.
Now, to keep down swelling. And so I was already sick. Then I got COVID. Then I was intubated. 8 out of 10 people die who are intubated. 9 out of 10 with my conditions. And third day in, they say I pulled out my intubation tube, but I was restrained because I also had an IV in my artery in my neck. And so they had me soft restrained, and they said I pulled it out. One of our community, a Apostolic VA community, said they in their mind, in a vision, they saw that my guardian angel pulled it out, because what happened was miraculous. And that is that when an intubation tube gets pulled, you have only a few seconds for the medical team to move to save the patient. They usually die. And it's within...
Because they're not used to breathing on their own.
Right, within seconds. Yeah. And I didn't, and I was able to breathe on my own, and my oxygen levels were up. And I know that, I know that happened because people out there prayed for me. You guys were praying for me here. In Rome, I got a note from the Vatican praying for me. Bishops, religious. I mean, I have this many mass cards. I have thousands of emails that I'll never even be able to read.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And so the God's people poured out their hearts, and by His mercy, I was saved.
It's really wonderful. Yeah, it's really great. Wow. Yeah, so when you had to make a decision between running a really big operation that did a lot of good for people to an operation that was really like deeper in your heart about getting people connected with the Lord and growing in holiness, that's the direction you went in.
It's the direction I went in. By the way, I needed the COVID dip in that. It was a dark time. It was a dark night. I don't mean that. I'm not using the dark night as a synonym. I'm speaking of John's teaching. Yeah. The suffering was corresponded with a deep spiritual suffering. Yeah. And it really pierced me and wrecked me in a way that I needed to do what we're doing. Yeah. And it's interesting, if you look at all the numbers in our ministry, we were already growing, but after that, it went like this. And so God be praised. I'm happy to have had COVID, and I know that sounds funny. I didn't fear it before or after, because I only fear God and my own sin. Yeah. But I'm glad I survived too, so.
Yeah, well, that's really great, Dan, it really is, yeah. Well, one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you today is because I read your article in National Catholic Register about your interaction with your dad while he was dying. And I was, very moved by it. And I felt like people need to hear that, because death is just a very important moment for people.
It is.
It's really a very important moment. They're about to stand before the judgment seat of Christ. And those last moments are really important. And I've been really grieved during the COVID to hear so many situations where priests aren't allowed to or don't want to go and deal with COVID patients that are dying, or anybody that's dying, because the hospitals were sealed off in so many ways. And so just concerned about people dying without an opportunity to be assisted in being reconciled with the Lord, if that's what's needed.
Well, and let's just be clear, there's also a theological position that's been popularized in our time. You and I are on the same page. We're with Jesus in Matthew 7:22 and Lumen Gentium 14. Yeah. And basically the view that we don't have to worry, and that's horrifying. Yeah. That's horrifying. So I think my dad was dying, and I knew he was going to hell. And he's a good man. So how does that work, right?
Explain that a little bit.
Well, he's just agnostic, never went to church his whole life, and except for funerals and weddings, and wasn't against religion, which is one of the reasons I think, the priest who helped him at the end of his life said people usually die as they live. So last minute conversions are not common. But I prayed so hard, Yeah. Every time I went to see him every summer, I would pray the rosary and say, Blessed Mother, ask him to ask me a question, because he's a self-made man. Yeah. He's didn't have any education, but, by the time he was 30, he had made $1 million in revenue in his company. He had owned 2 homes, but he came from a home his dad was an alcoholic and a philanderer, and his mom was a single mom, and he was poor. And he did so well, and he was a self-made man. And he was a strong personality and very imposing personality. And it was very difficult to share the faith. Yeah. But I fought.
Something had to come from him.
Right. Yeah. So
that's what you're praying for, yeah.
That was my secret, right? Yeah. But I was forward with him, but it was hard. But it was easier when he said, one time he asked me, Dan, does it bother you that I'm not religious like you? And I was like, oh God, thank you, you know? And I gave a terrible answer in the moment because I was really tired and something. But it gave me the opportunity to write a very long letter to him. Just say, look, I love you. You're a good man, but that's not what solves the problem of sin. So when it came this last, April before last, he had an aortal aneurysm, became very sick. He was always very strong of body as well, not like me. And I was in a kind of, the end port was the most important because I'm in a hotel down the street from an ICU. And I prayed, Lord, please just give me one more chance to share the gospel with him. And when he's lucid and alone, because family's a problem. My family's a problem. So
they'd probably start dumping on you if you started talking about the Lord to your dad.
Well, funny enough, there's another. I don't know if we'll have time, but there's a story about that. So I was in a hotel. I woke up 1:30 a.m. and I heard "Go now," but I thought he was going to die, and I didn't think it was an answer to that other prayer. Called my wife in Costa Rica. Said, "Please begin to pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet." I started praying it on the way in, and I got there, and guess what? He's lucid and almost alone. My estranged brother, who had been on drugs for a long, long time, and I didn't have a relationship with him, was there. But it was so, and I knew it was the moment that I had asked for. And I said, Dad, I really want to see you again when this is all over. And I want you to see Linda, my sister who had died in her 30s, and he loved dearly, and she was the only other Christian in the family. And he's like, what? You know? What are you talking about? And I said, you know, you're going to die, right? And, you know, you've been a good man, but that does not solve the problem of sin. And I said, you know, that's why Jesus came. You know, I've talked to you about it. And he came to give his life to die on our behalf that we might be reconciled to the Father and that we might be able to go to heaven. And I said, I really want to see you in heaven. And I said, Dad, do you want to be forgiven? And he said, yes, which I was like, wow. But I was so bent on telling him, like, I was not going to let anything deter me. Because it's like the last time, and I knew he was going to hell. And so I said, well, Dad, just ask him for forgiveness. And by the way, he would not see a priest. This is part of the story that's important. He wouldn't see a priest because I had a great priest lined up, good, really good man who we had connections with. But he wouldn't see the priest. I asked him several times. But in this moment, I said, do you want to be forgiven? He said, yes. He said, I said, just ask him to forgive you. And he said, I don't know how. Never prayed in his life. I said, just say this. Say, God, please forgive me. So he balls up his fists with all of his might. He says, God, please forgive me.
Wow.
God, please forgive me. God.
Praise the Lord.
Please. 3 times. I think the latter 2 were for me. The first one was for him. And I said, Dad, can I baptize you? Because as you know, canonically, we can do that in a tough situation. And I knew he wouldn't, to that point, he wouldn't allow a priest. And he said, yes, you can.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, where's a cup? So styrofoam cup in a hospital, you know, ICU. I go to the sink, like, I don't know what I'm doing, right? So I just dipped my thumb in there and crossed his forehead. I said, in the name of the Father. And he says, my dad's just not religious or any. He's like, wow. And then I crossed him again in the name of the Son. He says, wow. And then I crossed him again and he says, wow. And it was just, and my brother, who I hadn't talked with in like, I don't know, 15, 20 years, is bawling on the other side of the bed, which is a whole nother story, right? And, but in all the emotion, of course, my dad's very sick, so he goes to sleep. So we all go to sleep.
But it seemed like he was experiencing something when you were.
Oh, no doubt. Well, the rest of the story reveals it.
Okay.
We're all back up and together, and the first thing he says, he says, Dan, does this make me a Catholic now? And I said, yeah, Dad, it does, actually. He said, great. So, so then we had to leave and go home because he just kept recovering and then, you know, in and out. So we went home, and my wife, Stephanie, whom you know is very the evangelist extraordinaire, she says, you've got to get him confirmed, and you've got to get him Eucharist and last rites. And I'm like,
she's sending you back for more work.
Right, and I'm going, I got him to say yes to forgiveness. I don't want to hear no, it would kill me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so encouraged in this moment. He was baptized, and so I said, okay, I got to do it. So I call him up. I said, Dad, will you please see a priest to pray over? He says, yes. Baptismal graces, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I called Father Kenny, and I said, please come. He went, and he confirmed him, gave him Eucharist and last rites. So I call him. I said, Dad, how'd it go with the priest? Great, he says. I picked St. Christopher as he smoked all his life. So he had this, St. Christopher as my confirmation saint. Is that okay? Yeah. And it was almost cute, You sure that's okay? I said, yeah, Dad, how did you pick St. Christopher? Only saint I ever heard of, so he said. Yeah. And then, so then we went back and we're spending time with him. We're in the ICU. And I don't remember if I wrote about this in the story, but he wakes Stephanie up because I'm the president of HTV10 News, and he doesn't want to bother me and whatever, but I was listening, but he was bothering my wife. He's Stephanie. He said, I've been talking to St. Christopher. Not a religious guy, right? Doesn't know anything. Yeah. And Stephanie says, what about, Dad? And he said, I don't know if I can even get through this. He said, we've been standing at the edge of the water talking about how to get across.
Wow.
And Stephanie said, wow, that's beautiful, Dad, do you want to know the secret? And he said, yeah, I do. And he said, she said, it's surrender. Mm. And he said, that's hard for a man like me. Yeah. Goes back to sleep. Later on, he went to at-home hospice because there was no ability to extend his life at all. Calls Stephanie over again. Loved my wife. And he said, Stephanie, he said, I've been talking to Christopher. And she says, what about? And he says, he's teaching me the faith. Mm. Just amazing stuff like that. So then, we had talked about mentioned about the family. So one time he's fading at the house. We thought he was going to die, closed his eyes, pulse ox is down, blood pulse is down. And he goes to sleep, and we just made everyone pray the Divine Mercy Chaplet. And I can't, just for the sake of offending people, I really don't want to describe the room, but I can tell you it's a real interesting group of characters. Mm-hmm. They all agreed, and we all got around and prayed the Divine Mercy Chaplet. So my dad opens his eyes when we finish, and he goes, wow. He says, that was a long prayer. And then he goes like this, and he holds up his hands, and he says, but you know what? When you let it in, it's really beautiful.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right.
Oh, this is so wonderful. Yeah.
So anyway, that's as much as I can remember.
Well, you know what? There's a lesson here for everybody, isn't there, Dan? I'm really so concerned right now that so many people are indifferent about whether people are dying, get the sacrament of the anointing of the sick, or have a chance to talk with a priest or talk with anybody about where they are in their relationship with the Lord. And when I read Dan's story here about his dad, now that we're hearing it, I just want to tell everybody who's watching and listening today, intercede for the salvation of souls. Intercede for those that are dying. I know my wife, when she wakes up in the middle of the night, she says the Divine Mercy Chaplet for those who are dying, but especially for people that that are dying. Really intercede. Really ask the Lord to have mercy on them. Really ask the Lord to open their hearts and to send somebody. You may be the one that gets sent, but there may be somebody else. It may be a nurse in the hospital, maybe a guardian angel.
Right.
But it's just so concerned, Dan, about people dying without being reconciled with the Lord.
I totally agree, and if I can just be very direct, if you die in a state of mortal sin, you've died in a state wherein you are telling God, I don't want your plan. He's not going to violate your will. He's going to ratify that. You're going to go to hell. And if somebody you love has not gone to confession, or they have unforgiveness, or they've not lived in a proper state, you need to fight like heaven to get the hell out of them and really, get in there and love them more than your comfort.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. Yeah. Love them and love them more than what it's going to feel like to be rejected. Because I thought that was going to happen with my dad, and it didn't. Mm-hmm. And you got to give the Holy Spirit room to work. Yeah. And you got to cooperate with the Holy Spirit. Yeah. But if you're the only one who knows, and I am in my family, yeah. You're the one. Yeah. You got to go. You got to pray. You got to fast. You got to pray the rosary. Yeah. Yeah. And ask the Lord to have them ask you. It worked for me,
Yeah, yeah. And like Mary said at Fatima, offer suffering as reparation for sins and conversion of sinners. Offer voluntary sacrifice. Offer the suffering that you're experiencing. Turn it into a prayer. Turn it into pleading for the salvation of souls. So, well, Dan, it's great what you're doing. It's great how the Lord used great suffering in your life to deepen His hold on your soul, and just all the fruitfulness that's coming from your work now with Avila Institute and your book and all the other books, Spiritual Warfare and the Discernment of Spirits, and just all the great thing that the fruitfulness that the Lord's bringing out of abiding with Him, out of abiding connected to the vine. So thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, good. Well, Peter Herbeck, whom many of you know, has written a booklet called Fear God and Give Him Glory. You know who said that? An angel said that. An angel said that, and we read about it in the book of Revelation, and it's a message to the whole world. In fact, it's a little bit the motto of EWTN, isn't it? Isn't that what Mother Angelica kind of was inspired by, Yeah. She really wanted, when times got difficult, maybe the Lord was coming again, to be able to announce to the whole world, fear God and give Him glory. And it's so important, the fear of the Lord. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And if we don't have fear of the Lord, if we don't know that God is holy, if we don't bow down before Him and acknowledge His holiness and His divinity and ask Him for mercy, we're just we're not in touch with reality, St. Catherine of Siena, when she would pray, she'd begin by saying, Lord, You are the one who is, and I am the one who is not. We just need to remember who we are, so we pay ever so careful attention to God and what He's revealing to us. Because, as Dan says, there really is a heaven and there really is a hell. Even though it sounded kind of radical and stark, what Dan just said, it's in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, it's in the teaching of the Church, it's what we really believe, it's what's really true, even though we hardly ever hear about it anymore. And that's why we're coming to you every week with the choices we face.
One of the most overlooked yet foundational spiritual gifts is the fear of the Lord. The Scriptures call this gift a fountain of life, a source of confidence, and the beginning of wisdom. Today our culture, politics, and even the church are in crisis. Everyone can see the deep division, the escalation of anger and violence, and whole nations seem to be in the grip of fear. We have come to fear the wrong things, the opinions of men, and losing our idols. The fear of God is not in the land, and God in His mercy is shaking the nations to wake us up so we hear His word. Do not fear what this people fear. Rather, fear God and give Him glory. In this booklet, I explain the fear of the Lord, why it is an antidote to the current crisis, and how you can awaken this gift in your life. To receive a free copy, visit our website or call the number on the screen.
For 37 million Americans, this is life. Living below the poverty line. Every day, a struggle. Just to hang on. What would you give up to keep your grip? Food? Medicine? Clothing? Tough choices that 1 in 8 Americans face every day. Many have jobs and children and families. But every day, life below the poverty line gets a little bit harder. Find out what you can do. Please, don't let one more fall. Go to povertyusa.org and get involved.
Once, it was broken and silent, but the spirit of America made it ring again, with liberty and justice for all. And once it was tattered and torn, but the spirit of America made it fly again, the hope of freedom for everyone. And once, too, it was weak, but the spirit of America made it strong again, the dream of a better life. And if that spirit can do all this, just imagine what we can do for all Americans living in poverty. We can let liberty ring for millions of kids in need. We can let freedom wave for every family working for independence. We can unite against the poverty that divides our nation. Poverty in America. We can end it, and everyone can do something to help. Learn how at povertyusa.org.
You gotta try this. And some of those. Ooh, and definitely that. Go ahead. Help yourself to some more. You won't be disappointed. And make sure you wash it down right. But just know you can only get it here. Off the eaten path where Cajun runs deep. Where? Up and down Louisiana's Cajun Bayou in Lafourche Parish. Y'all come visit? We're just 35 miles south of New Orleans. Hungry? Let's eat!
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this segment of 101. I'm Martin False. Very pleased to have as my guest today Mr. Gene Thibodeau, an architect who has worked on many projects in the area, in the state, all over the place for that matter. And today we're going to find out some of those projects and what got him started on his great career. So stick around. Right after the break, Mr. Gene Thibodeau.
One-on-One is brought to you by the law office of Waits and Downer.
Insurance companies often deny, delay, don't pay enough. Hurricane Ida has decimated Terrebonne and Lafourche parishes. By now, you've heard that thousands of people have been taken advantage of by their insurance companies. Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. So once again, don't give up. That's exactly what the insurance companies want you to do. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you. Pick up the phone. 985-876-0870 for a free consultation.
So I called my gynecologist. He called me a couple of days later, and he says, well, Lillette, you have cancer. If you're lucky enough to be in a town that has a cancer center, why not utilize what you have? They treated me like I was royalty.
Visit marybird.org/strength to learn more about Terrebonne General, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
It's hurricane season. What's your game plan? The start of hurricane season is a good time to review and update your plans. Emergency plans should address the following: basic emergency supplies, a list of emergency broadcast stations, evacuation routes, and plans to protect your home and property. For more information on hurricane preparedness, visit TOHSEP.com.
Terrebonne Parish School District is seeking individuals for the following maintenance positions: licensed plumber, electrician, carpenter, HVAC techs with chiller experience, HVAC techs with general experience. These positions have great work environment, excellent benefits, retirement, and insurance. Apply online at tpsd.org. Terrebonne Parish School District, a great place to work.
All right, and welcome back to One-on-One. As promised, my guest today is Mr. Gene Thibodeau, well-known architect here in the area and certainly beloved in the area, involved in many projects, and certainly he had a large array of students who went through school, and a lot of you probably went to school with a lot of them. We'll find out today about some of those individuals that he helped raise along with his wife. But Mr. Gene, good to have you on One-on-One.
Good to be here, Martin.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure, and as I reiterated, I want to thank you for all of the good you've done for Terrebonne Parish and during the hurricane season and beyond. I appreciate you.
But thank you. We have a great crew here, very dedicated, and all those that have worked hurricanes, it's very vital, so I'll pass that on to them. Thank you so much. I want to start off going way back to the earliest years you can remember. Where were you born, and what was it like?
I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I had a happy childhood because I lived right next to Southwestern. And I was able to use all of their facilities, and also had friends that in the Southwestern area, and I kept up my adventures by using the basketball court, the tennis courts. So I had a happy childhood, Martin.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to be right by campus where, like you say, you can, if the guys want to go play basketball or whatever, you can go do that. And it was just, it was almost like having a big backyard, wasn't it?
It was that.
Yeah. And what was your childhood like? Because I know you have to be very meticulous when you become an architect, and you have to look at detail, and you have to have a great imagination. Where did you get that from?
Well, my childhood was, I'll tell you the truth, though. I played music, and I didn't really know if I wanted to be an architect or a musician. And I think that the music gave me the discipline that I needed, and working with an orchestra and working with the band, I was able to go ahead and get that discipline that's necessary for architects.
What did you play?
I played the cornet. It's a small version of the trumpet, but I was fortunate to play second place first in the All-State Honor Band at LSU, and I really enjoyed my time at Lafayette High. I went to Lafayette High and graduated in the first class of the new school.
Wow. See, that's why we have the One-on-One, so we could find out that Mr. Gene Thibodeau was a pretty good musician. That's something I never knew. How long did you dabble in music, or was it something that was short-lived?
I started in the 5th grade, and then when I got to high school, I took it more seriously. I played first chair first for Mr. Gilfrey, who was my band director. And in fact, Mr. Gilfrey, when I graduated from high school, I went to Southwestern, and Mr. Gilfrey was also the band director that went to Southwestern also at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I confided in him and told him that I had a love of music, and I would either like to go into music or into architecture. Mm-hmm. And he said, Gene, go into architecture because you can always play on the side for. And it was a wise decision that I made, because in my second year of college, I contracted tuberculosis, and I had to quit playing the trumpet. So after recuperating from tuberculosis, I was fortunate. I got a state scholarship to Tulane in architecture, and continued from there.
So tuberculosis, of course, affects the lungs, and I guess it affected your ability to get the air out, huh?
It did, yes.
Yeah, wow. So, as God would have it, your road changed.
Right.
And obviously in music and in architecture, they both in the arts. You both have to have an imagination, and you have to go down roads
Correct.
untraveled. Did you always know you had that gift to sort of be creative?
No, I didn't. I actually just, I guess I worked into it. When I started out over here in Houma in it was 1967 that I opened up my own firm, and then later on formed a partnership, and then after that a corporation, and then I carried on the corporation. But I worked and I was performing. I love to perform service for the community. I was in the Kiwanis Club and the JCs, and I was working with fine people like Stanwood Duval, our federal judge now, and Dale Thompson, one of the leaders and shakers of our area. And we performed a lot of good services. And while I was in the JC called air shows at the air base, and I got fascinated with flying. And I remember I went to a convention one year with the Key Clubs. Our Kiwanis Club started the Key Clubs over here. And I went to convention 10 years in a row with them. And I remember one year coming back, the bus broke down, and I was working on the H.L. Bourgeois High School and the Courthouse Annex at the same time. They kept calling me, and I had to eventually take transportation to come back down. Now I thought about it, and I said, I love both what I'm doing, so let me learn how to fly so I can get back and forth quickly. So I did. I took flight lessons and became a private pilot in 1971.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
I miss my normal life and doing things with my friends. Why are Mom and Dad angry all the time? When will I be able to see my grandparents again? I miss them.
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
I'm local attorney Cy Broussard, and I've handled hurricane claims for years, way before Hurricane Ida devastated our community. The Bayou region is where I live and raise my family. I take pride in our community and take offense when anyone tries to harm it. If you want a local, aggressive lawyer who will fight for you with years of proven experience, give us a call for a free consultation. I'll fight for you with everything I got. And if we don't recover new money on your claim, you aren't responsible for any attorney's fees or cost.
Ameristar Roofing.
You never want a roof on top of rotten wood. You definitely want to go down to the decking to check any issues that you might have. Got to make sure we have a nailable surface. So make sure that nail grabs, that way those shingles don't go anywhere.
Every product that we install, we're certified to do it. We want to make sure that our installation is perfect and to spec. It's up to our crew leaders and to us to make sure that this thing looks exactly like the day it was built. So you don't see any low spots in the roof. We want it to be exact.
Ameristar Roofing.
Reputation by recommendation.
you sort of adapted on the fly, so to speak. If you saw something that could better something, you did it, didn't you?
I did. I tried my best, to combine the two. And actually, architecture to me right now is like flying an airplane, because you have to do a pre-flight before you take off to go from point A to point B. And after you do the pre-flight and you start on your journey, you have to make minor corrections while you're flying. So, and it's the same thing with architecture. You go from point A to point B, and you run into some little problems that have to be resolved.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the closing of the flight, you go ahead and close out the project just like you do with architecture. You close it out and make sure that everybody's satisfied. And
I guess both are critical. You can make a very minor mistake, but if you make a major mistake on both,
correct,
it can be problematic.
It could be.
Yeah, so you have to really sort of, I guess, lay it out and sort of always be attuned to what you do. And who was your mom creative? Was your dad creative? Where'd you get that from?
They were both hardworking people, and I guess they were creative. I remember I got away with nothing, and my daddy was old-fashioned, and he used a belt. And right. My grandmother was the same way. I used to go to the country during the summer times to help my grandmother pick cotton and hoe potatoes, and mm-hmm. help my uncles do that. And if ever we did something wrong, or we were told we did something wrong. And,
so you come from that blue collar mentality where work ethic was just
right.
paramount.
Correct.
Because you've always had a tremendous work ethic.
Thank you, Martin. I do that, and I do it because, and after my last episodes with cancer, I know that the Lord is leading my life, and I'm asking Him. I pray every day. I read 5 verses of the Bible every day, mm-hmm. and I'm asking Him to lead my life now, to tell me what to do the next day and the next day.
Not a bad leader.
He is my pilot.
Excuse the pun, huh? Right. So you get involved in all of these projects, and every time growing up, and I was in the Key Club at Vanderbilt.
Oh.
So the Kiwanis Club, we all knew about the Kiwanis Club, and we all knew about the leaders. And you were one of those people that were involved in so many things. So when there was a project or a hospital or a home, like I said, $763 million in projects. You were one of those go-to guys where people would go to and say, we got a big one here, we need some help. And that had to make you pretty proud.
Well, it did. It made me humble, I guess, more than proud. But mm-hmm. My father, who was a traveling salesman, had ethics, and he taught me that. And I tried to carry it on in my profession. But one part of and it's for everybody, we have to have discipline. And I was taught discipline early in my lifetime, and I'm trying to bring that to the community. If in anything that you do, you have to have discipline. So, and I guess I was fortunate the Lord has allowed me to live this long.
Right.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Don't give up. At Waits and Downer Law Firm, we want to make sure that you have all the facts when dealing with your insurance company. We have the legal experience and ability to make them pay. Get the help you need. At Waits and Downer, it's our goal to not only get you a full damage recovery, but to get the insurance company to reimburse your legal fees. Call today for a free consultation. We are local and we are here to stay. Let our years of experience work for you.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. New GMC vehicles arriving weekly at your local dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
See your local GMC dealer.
Leg pain, swelling, or ulcers can be signs of vascular disease in the legs. This lack of blood flow can lead to amputation if not treated. Varicose or spider veins may also be signs of venous disease and are more than just a cosmetic problem. Trust the most advanced team of leg pain specialists at Cardiovascular Institute of the South to reopen blockages in the legs and offer minimally invasive in-clinic vein treatments. If you experience leg pain, swelling, or have visible veins, schedule an appointment with us today at cardio.com.
Domestic violence is daunting, and the psychological effects can do enduring damage. Obviously, all abuse needs to end. But how? The Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office is dedicated to ending domestic violence and helping those who have already experienced it. Our office supports many programs that educate and adjudicate abuse towards women. If you are a victim of abuse, call the Terrebonne Parish District Attorney's Office at 873-6500.
So I called my gynecologist. He called me a couple of days later, and he says, well, Lillette, you have cancer. If you're lucky enough to be in a town that has a cancer center, why not utilize what you have? They treated me like I was royalty.
Visit marybird.org/strength to learn more about Terrebonne General, Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center.
What was your first big job? Once you decided you were going in architecture, and once you got that diploma, that piece of paper that said Gene Thibodeau's on his way, what was that first nervous moment that you remember you had?
The first big job was H.L. Bourgeois High School. I have to give credit to my my ex-father-in-law, who was on the school board at the time, and they needed a high school, and I was good friends with Curtis and Davis, who did the South Terrebonne High School. Mm-hmm. South Terrebonne High School was the first air-conditioned high school in the state.
Really?
And Terrebonne was the second air-conditioned.
Okay.
So I used a lot of my colleagues' help in order to go after that project. So, we were fortunate under the partnership to go ahead and get H.L. Bourgeois High School. And I was the architect in charge of H.L. Bourgeois High School. We had some problems. Remember, we didn't have enough water in order to have a sprinkler system in the school. So therefore, I decided to go ahead and make it all brick. Brick on the outside and brick on the inside, in order to save insurance and also to get as large a school as we could. And so that was my first big project.
And so at that point, water lines weren't big enough to supply the sprinkler system.
Correct. They only had 4-inch water lines. I think they didn't have a 6-inch water line, which was the minimum in order to get the sprinkler system to work.
And most people wouldn't think about, okay, let's just go with brick. But architects think that way.
Yes.
Do you find that you always sort of thought out the box?
Correct. Yeah, I did because I know that there's also alternate ways to do things. The problem of doing alternate ways is you don't want to increase the cost of the project. Mm-hmm. So I had to rely on the contractors, and fortunately, all the contractors that I had was able to help me You know, when I got in trouble, I went to the contractor and said, I've done this, what can we do? And they would usually help me work something out with a no money change order, which didn't slow the job down, and we were able to move ahead. But that's one thing that I tell the young architects: if you're in trouble, go to the contractor. Don't try to solve the problem yourself.
Yeah, because the contractors have their own working knowledge, and I guess at the same time, the budgets, that's why you have to build in that little extra in the budget, because there's going to be a lot of unforeseen things that come up on a project.
Correct, yes. Yeah, H.L. Bourgeois High School, I had to address the school board. We had specified some stuff that didn't work on the foundation, and fortunately we found it out. But I went to the school board and told them we had made a mistake, and we switched back to gravel and sand the regular way that we should do it. So it worked out fine, and we had. I enjoyed H.L. Bourgeois High School because the first teachers at H.L. Bourgeois High School are the ones that helped me design the school. I took many trips to them, and I said, "You're going to design your school. I'm not going to do it. I'll take the suggestions and draw it up for you." And I think we came up with they came up with a pretty good plan.
But that was always a knack you had, and you still have it, is that you're able to sit down with people and communicate the process, and to even include a teacher on a school. Not everybody does it. Not everybody goes to the teacher and says, "Well, what would you like? What color would you like?" Or what? You made that a point, didn't you?
I did, because architects don't know everything, and we are designing for people. We're not designing for ourselves. And so I made it a point on every project that I did to make sure that I got enough information. Just like flying an airplane, I made sure I had enough information about the weather that I could fly from point A to point B.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by...
The 2023 Ford F-150 trucks are coming, meaning more ways to haul, tow, go, and do, and with more ways than ever to make it your own. Plus, if you order now, you'll lock in your price and lock in your rate. Do more in a 2023 Ford F-150. Custom order yours today. Lock in 2.9 for $60 and get $500 bonus cash when you order a 2023 Ford F-150. Only at your Southern Quality Ford dealer.
For years, Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford & Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
I have such respect and pride for our company, and I'm excited to bring new and innovative ideas to our clients.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the HNC is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Was your business interrupted by Hurricane Ida? You may be entitled to compensation. Insurance companies may try to pay you much less than your losses, or even deny your claim altogether. St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duvall are partnering together to fight for your fair payout. Go to myidaclaim.com for your free case review today. Never give up because your insurance company has denied your claim, and never accept a lowball offer. Let St. Martin and Bork and Hoffa's Duvall help you weather the storm. Visit myidaclaim.com today.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. New GMC vehicles arriving weekly at your local dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
See your local GMC dealer.
West Park Self-Storage is a state-of-the-art storage facility with clean, convenient, and secure climate-controlled storage. Our professional storage counselors are here to assist you with all your storage needs. We now offer after-hour access, and you can access your unit 7 days a week. We also have parking for RVs, boats, and cars with 24-hour access. West Park Storage would like to thank you for 20 years of business.
All right, we are back at Ellendale, and of course, we're remembering Dr. Gerald Haydell, just well known and loved by many. Barry Williams joins me now, and I can't wait to hear what he's going to talk about. So many stories that y'all have that we always love to share about Dr. Jerry, and I can't wait to hear a few you have.
Well, when they asked me if I would consider this, the whole night I stayed up trying to figure out what I could say that was not R-rated. But I know so many wonderful things has been said about him already, and I surely cannot feel the wonderful things that was tribute to him. But I'd like to share a couple of little stories, in that I had the honor of being Dr. Jerry's barber for 50 years plus, and then he was cutting his boys' hair, and then he brought them over to me. So my relationship with them became more family than anything else.
Right.
And Dr. Jerry was bigger than life. He once he took a project on, it was going to be the biggest, the best that anybody's ever did. I remember when him and Richard Barker and Mr. Joe Waite started the barbecue at St. Francis, and it was the biggest barbecue that anybody's ever seen.
Yeah.
And Jerry had this unique way of coming to you and asking you to do something, and you just figured it was an honor that he asked you to do it, that he wanted to give you something that he trusted that you could carry it out, so you couldn't tell him no.
Right.
You know? And in Vanderbilt Fair, and I was in charge of the auction, and he was the first guy to do a casino.
Right.
WWL.
And maybe the last.
Well, he was, because even Channel 4 sent down people to, who heard of a church having a casino, you know?
They did at Vanderbilt.
Well, and he did well
a
with
lot
it.
of money.
He did well. So that was his guy. And then I like to, I'm going to give you the skeleton out the closet. When we was doing his hair, he started getting gray.
Yeah.
He decided he wanted to color it. So the skeleton is Dr. Jerry was coloring his hair. And my daughter was his colorist. But he goes home with it, and Gene says, "What the heck did you do?" He said, "Well, you color your hair. I want to stay young looking too." She said, "No, we ain't going to have that." He said, "I'll quit if you quit too." And she said, "Well, when is your next appointment?" So that's Jerry, you know.
I saw him one time, and I think he had tried to do it himself a couple of times before.
Right.
Y'all corrected, because I said, "Doc, you coloring your hair?" He goes, "How you know that, boy?" I said, "Because you got two different colors."
But boy, he loved he said, "Yeah, Gene's just afraid I'm going to look too younger than her. That's her problem."
But I mean, you're right. He had a way of being very disciplined and strict, and boy, could move forward with the project. But he had a fun-loving side too.
Oh Lord! I mean, I'm sure people spoke about the Redfish Rodeo in Grand Isle, hadn't it? And that was an event everybody wanted
You were
to be
there.
in. Was I there?
Bill Sabote, my dad, he was on the KP.
Oh yeah, it was I said. He had a way of attracting people to be all his Indians, you know.
Right.
And everybody loved doing it. You know, he really just he was full of life. I want to share the main story personal story I had, that my wife and Jerry and Jean, we went to St. Stanislaus to visit some retired brothers. Wonderful, delightful visit. And then the next day was Father's Day, and we went to Mass at St. Stanislaus. And the priest asked all the fathers to stand. Then he said, if you have 2 or less children, sit down, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and Jerry 8. Jerry's still standing. He's looking around so proud because he was the only one. The priest said, how many children you have? 9. Wow. And the whole church applauded. And he just said, boy, he was like a gigantic peacock. You know, he couldn't, he was so proud of the fact that he loved his family so dearly. And after he said, Barry, can you know, and everything was like in amazement after. If he did something, he was just amazed. Do you realize that? You know? Anyway, and he said, you know, I thought he was going to give me a present, don't I? A rosary, a prayer book or something. So anyway, that's
I'm going to tell you funny. My daddy told me when they would go to the fishing rodeo, they'd all go eat whatever restaurant y'all all ended up in. And Dr. Jerry would stop at the little hostess table, and he would slip the hostess some money, and he'd say, I want you twice while I'm sitting down to page Dr. Jerry Haydell. So I said, what? So Daddy said, all these big shots in a restaurant, and all of a sudden, paging Dr. Jerry Haydell, paging Dr. Jerry Haydell, you have an emergency. I said, why did he do this? He said, it made him known amongst all these big shots. So Dr. Jerry knew how to market. He was a marketer.
He did. And it was amazing how many, it's an unheard of thing that he would actually have a state trooper lead the caravan of boats to Grand Isle.
He's a pioneer.
Oh, that's Mad was not around there.
No, and a lot of
we had to stop a couple of times.
I got to do this. We got to take a break. Once again, Barry Williams broke the news here on Bayou Time that Dr. Jerry used a little hair color. So look, don't get mad at me. You got to get mad at Barry, but somehow I think we all knew that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, well, thank you, Barry. Good to see you. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back with more from Ellendale. Don't go away.
The new GMC Sierra. Premium and capable. That's professional grade. New GMC vehicles arriving weekly at your local dealers. Available for immediate delivery with 0% financing.
See your local GMC dealer.
I feel so overwhelmed. Being a mom, wife, employee, and now a teacher is exhausting. How do I keep my family safe from everything going on in the world?
Do any of these thoughts sound familiar to you? If so, you are not alone. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority offers support, counseling, and treatment geared at helping you where you are right now in the midst of this pandemic and your own personal crisis. The South Central Louisiana Human Services Authority, helping people, changing lives.
Time doesn't stop, and the world keeps spinning. Community, culture, and communications, the powerful circle that connects us together. We're creating the next evolution, a network built for every possibility, moving faster than ever before, streaming us forward into the future. That's what we call revolution, and the revolution is closer than you think. Welcome to Rev.
At Big Wheels Travel Center, the fun and excitement are just around the corner in Bayou Blue. Big Wheels is open 24 hours a day and features 24-hour security, clean restrooms, and a wide selection of beer, soft drinks, and chips for all your needs. While you're there, visit the casino for daily cash prizes and drink specials 7 days a week. You'll get the feeling as if you're in a lush Vegas-style casino. Big Wheels also has one of the largest subways in the area. So stop by Big Wheels Travel Center, where everyone's a winner.
Tony Alford and Priscilla Larpenter have been the foundation of what is now Alford and Associates. Their passion and vision have been embedded company-wide. It's not just about insurance. It's about making sure that our community is strong and protected for the next generation.
We analyze and then custom design your insurance policies to fit your business's needs, not the insurance carriers.
It's quite simple. It's the mindset of our organization to protect you from life's hardships.
Your benefits are our business.
The 2022 Mazda CX-9. Now with standard iActive all-wheel drive. It's nimble, it's intuitive, it's a 3-row CUV that doesn't drive like one.
Drive home a new Mazda CX-9 and get 1.9% APR for 60 months at Barker Mazda in Homa, or shop us online at barkermazda.com.
And here we are back at Elladale celebrating Dr. Jerry Haydell's life. And we're really glad to have some of a niece and nephew of his here with us, some people that kind of can tell us a little bit more about Dr. Jerry from their side. We have Margaret Haydell Johnson joining us. Margaret, thanks for joining us.
Hey, how you doing, Keith?
Very good. And sitting next to her, we have Dr. Bobby Haydell Jr. as well. Dr. Bobby, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thank you.
All right. And so, Margaret, tell me some of the first stories, some of the first things you can remember, maybe being at Dr. Jerry's and Miss Jean's house or playing with them, some of your first memories of Dr. Jerry.
I think everybody could say that the first memories we have is when we get together every Christmas at Mama and Papa Haydell's house. And we would get together, and Aunt Kathy would play the organ, and we would just sing Christmas carols, and, you know, all the brothers and sisters were there, and hundreds of grandkids, it seemed like. But I remember being at his house, and I think Larry kind of said it in his eulogy, part of his eulogy, is that I remember being at his house and Uncle Jerry getting on the piano, and he always wanted to play the Notre Dame fight song. And I remember sitting right next to him on the piano because our father loved the piano, so we all grew up loving the piano. So I would sit there, and he would just play for me, and he would play it over and over again because he would play for anybody that listened, just like Dad. I mean, that's just who they were.
Well, and so one of the things Margaret's never going to tell you, one of the more outstanding athletes in the whole Haydell family, I don't find it a surprise that he would play that fight song while you're sitting there listening.
Well, it's Notre Dame, so I'm more LSU.
Right. Or McNeese at the time, right? Yeah.
That's right.
And so the same question, Dr. Bobby. Tell us a little bit about maybe your first memories with Dr. Jerry or spending time with the family.
Well, Uncle Jerry was all about family, even extended family. And when we were all little bitty boys, it wasn't anything for him to say, Bobby, my dad, bring your boys, and we'd go to the duck camp, and we'd have 2 or 3 trips a year. And fishing for the Redfish Rodeo, he'd have the men, but then he'd say, Bobby, bring the boys. And we'd all go, and we'd have those fishing experiences with our uncles and hunting experiences with our uncles, which I loved. When I was a young boy, when we would sleep upstairs, it was like sleeping with the Three Stooges. You know, me. And you could never sleep as a boy. All those men, and I just think, well, you got to be a man if you can snore. But, you know, it was just really great. He would cook a big meal just like they were talking about at the duck camp. All the boys would get to eat, and, of course, we'd get shot upstairs where the men were downstairs doing their thing. But it was just a great outing that I would have never had to experience as a young boy without Uncle Jerry's generosity. And that goes for the Grand Isle Camp also. Also, their house. At that first house they were talking about, that little 3-bedroom house in Mulberry, we were all, Martin's right across the street behind there. Right. We're right around the corner. The Kazu's are right next door. And they had this one lot in between the Kazu house and Uncle Jerry's house. And that was Lot Central. There was either a football game, a kickball game, a whoopable ball game, tennis ball tag. Something was going on every day around in that area when we were all little. So that's just one that I wanted to share. and Uncle Jerry and Aunt Jean were great.
And so really interesting, Martin tells the story about the kitchen table or the dining room table. That's where everybody got stitched up. So, Margaret, did you get any of those, get stitched up after any of those games?
No. My daddy did it.
Okay. Dr. Bobby Sr. did that, right? Bobby, you remember those as well? Did he stitch you up?
Well, one Uncle Jerry, I was lucky. We were just lucky to have the Haydels. I can't remember what happened to me, but all of a sudden I have a Sunday afternoon, my lips split all the way, and didn't have to worry about going to the ER. I just call, and whoever's there, Uncle Tommy, Bobby, come over here, I'll fix you right up. And they take right care of you. It didn't matter when, they always took care of family, and it was very, very, like for me, I'll try to serve and bring that, what they taught me, to always serve. That's what we're here to do, and help the people, so.
One of the things that we've been talking about is Dr. Jerry being an icon in this community, somebody who's made a huge difference in our community. That passes down through the generations. Dr. Bobby instilled that in you guys as well, right, about taking care of everybody else.
Well, I think, I tell you what, I feel very fortunate just to be in this loving family. Our family is so big, but I think one thing that we've all received from watching our parents, Uncle Jerry, Uncle Bobby, my daddy, sorry, and just our parents in general, is love of family, hard work, and love of work. And I think it really trickled down because we're all hard workers. And when we go in, we go all in. But there's no greater love than family. And that's most important to us.
Very well said, Margaret. So, Dr. Bobby, one of the things that it's always, we've been asking all day with all of the physicians in the family, what was it that helped you make that decision to go into becoming a medical doctor? And did Dr. Jerry have anything to do with that?
Absolutely. I would tell you that Uncle Jerry and his brothers and my dad, they were the best people I had ever been around. I enjoyed them. I loved them. I loved them as people. I loved them the way they served the public. And I always tried to, and trust me, it is hard shoes to walk in. I've always tried to emulate and walk it as good as they taught it and mentored all of us. So I feel I am who I am today because of them. And I'm thankful, very thankful. And I just do everything I can. Hopefully I can pass that on to the next generation. Somebody will get the fire to serve and try to help people the best they can. And the better person you are, the better doctor you will be. And I think they always personified that.
And so very much we can talk about, we could have done this for hours about Dr. Bobby Sr. as well. A man of great passion and of great care, spent a lot of hours taking care of the people. His brother Jerry did the same. And so that's one of those things. And I could ask you what would be one word to describe it, but y'all just said it. It's family. It's about hard work. And it's about loving what you do. We're very, very thankful that the Haydels continue to do that. And even nieces and nephews of Dr. Jerry continue to do that. Thank y'all so much for spending a little time with us. We appreciate it.
Uncle Jerry would always go, still sits, hey boy! And it's still ingrained. Every time I think, that's what I think he's called.
No other way to do it than, hey boy. And that'll do it for us here.
What are you doing? Why should you pay over MSRP when you can pay below market price at Terrebonne Ford? That's right, every new Ford in stock has a below market price because that's what our customer deserves. A Terrebonne Ford price. Terrebonne Ford in Houma.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our